Alex Bale video. Unfortunately, like all great empires, like all great eras, like all great timelines, things must come to an end. We have got to experience some absolute legends in the world of entertainment, the likes of Martin Scorsese, the likes of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the likes of Alexander Graham Bale. I'm very emotional right now. I don't know about you, but I am very emotional right now. I am feeling every emotion that could ever be possibly emoted. On one hand, this was one of the greatest journeys of my entire life, and I'm glad I've had the pleasure of coming along for the ride. And on the other hand, this was quite possibly one of the worst tormenting experiences I've ever had. I still have nightmares to this day, and I don't know if this darkness will ever leave me. I don't know where life is going to take us after this. I don't know where the wind is going to blow us after this. Everything is just going to feel empty and alone. Thankfully, we've got at least over 1 hour left here together, so let us enjoy it together. The Spongebob Conspiracy Compilation. 8 new mini-theories, the mega ultra multiversal crossover, dude. Let's go.
Can you make more SpongeBob theories?
Where's the new SpongeBob conspiracy?
Alex,
theory?
can you do SpongeBob?
Oh my god, dude. Do you want to see my comments? Do you want to see my comments right now, dude? I'll scroll. The first, look, there's one right here on my screen, I haven't even unlocked my phone yet, and it's right, you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about, dude? I can't sleep, dude. I can't, people, I'm taking a shower. People are knocking on my window from outside my house, telling me there's a new Alex Bale video. I was on the bus. And a dude tapped me on the shoulder. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the hell? I was listening to Beyonce in my ear, dude. I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, there's a new Alex Bale video. I was like, dude, you can't be fucking serious. You can't be serious right now.
More SpongeBob theories.
Alright, I get it. Listen, I'm done making SpongeBob theories. I already gave you guys 8 big ones. And then I made a whole web series about not wanting to be the SpongeBob guy. I'm done, okay? But since we're wrapping up this
Was that the meaning? Was that the secret message the whole time? This entire muse, we went on this journey, this adventure to dismantle the evil corporation of Happy Meat Farms and put an end to the mutated muse running rampant on society, and the whole time he just wanted to tell us, yeah, I just don't want to be the SpongeBob guy. Is that... Did the whole point fly over my head and I just fucking missed, and you're just now telling me we've gone this far and I missed the point entirely, dude? That makes me feel great.
Chapter of my channel, and since I'm basically at 1 million subscribers, here's what I'll do as a final send-off just for you SpongeBob theory fans. This video is a compilation of my 8 previous SpongeBob conspiracies with no sponsorships, no film interruptions, no whining about not wanting to be the SpongeBob guy, except for the whining that I just did, and a bunch of brand new, never before seen content. These theories have new evidence that's been discovered, some corrections and responding to comments I've gotten, new ideas and directions spins for old theories, and, best of all, 8 completely new, never-before-seen mini SpongeBob theories. I'll be sprinkling these new mini theories in after each of the main theories, and I'll also be ending all of my old theories with some thoughts on how I think they hold up today. And hey, after this, I'm still going to be making theories about other non-SpongeBob related topics, so make sure you subscribe.
I'm not rewatching the theories. I'm letting you guys know. I'm letting you guys know, dude. I'm not watching Squilliam again. We know, dude. Squilliam he's a fraud. He's a lying, deceiving bastard, dude. He was sucking eggs in high school, dude. Mrs. Puff is a thug. Mr. Krabs is a war criminal. There's 7 different Neptunes, dude. We get it. All right? Right? I would just sit here and babble about whatever, dude. I would be like, hey, Chad, you guys remember that? You guys remember when I lost my mind at this? Like, I'm not doing it. I can't do it again.
Subscribe to catch those. Let's begin this one final SpongeBob video with the very first SpongeBob theory I ever made, just for you, very passionate SpongeBob theory fans that have changed my life. Dude. Thank you for everything. I hope you enjoy.
Let's just admire this for a second.
Thank you for everything.
Let's just admire this picture for a second. This is what started everything. It's not just for us, for both of us, right? It's Alex took off from here. I took off from here, dude. Who would have ever thought that this fraud, this scoundrel here, right? This con artist would change the course, the trajectory of the lives of many, dude. Nothing was the same. And look at him grinning at us, dude, because he knows. He knows, dude. That's what started it all, dude. Made careers. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Animation. He's opening. Dude. Shout out Squilliam, man. Shout out Squilliam. Wouldn't be here without you, buddy.
So, before we get into the first official new mini theory, I'm gonna end each of my old theories with a few thoughts on how I think they hold up and where I think they rank among the others. I think I'd probably rank this as my worst SpongeBob theory.
Really?
Even though I still think it's pretty plausible, it's just got a lot of issues with it. You can probably tell it's my first attempt at an actual theory, with some obvious things I got wrong, and the fact that
I think the main thing with this one is it's not like super deep. You know what I mean? It's not super deep, right? Like, it's just Squilliam is actually a fraud. You know what I mean? Like, he just buys all of his friends, he's just putting on a show, dude. He's just a reality TV show walking. You know what I mean? It's not like something super deep that, like, changes the meaning of things and, you know what I'm saying, changes how you, like, watch shit. You know what I mean? Like, this one was just kind of, it's an intro, right? It's the beginning, right? You could tell it was very, you know, just straightforward, didn't go super deep. It was just kind of, you know, Squilliam's a fraud, here's why. You know what I mean? So, I could see why you put it at the bottom. I could see.
That a lot of the evidence relies on the continuity of very common background characters, which are obviously used very interchangeably in this show with no rhyme or reason. I still think there's some really good evidence here, like the design of the college, or the way this lady clearly knows more about Squidward than she's letting on. But also, you know, when you compare it to my later theories, it's kind of just a very basic, simple concept. I'm just claiming the asshole character is an even bigger asshole than you thought. It's really not that interesting or surprising. Oh well, we can only go up from here. Let's begin my first new mini theory.
Okay, dude, here's what we came for. One of the greatest episodes of all time, by the way, top 10. This is a top 10 episode, like, by itself. We're not even into the theory yet, dude. Just the episode itself, top 10. The Magic Box, top 10. Dude, how... I don't know if this is weird, dude. I don't know if anybody's gonna sit here and call me a lame, loser, dork, nerd, dweeb, pussy. But, dude, I I played in a box. When I watched this, I watched SpongeBob. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go play in a fucking box. And I played in a box. I did. I'll admit, I played in a fucking box, dude. It was a vacuum box. That was the only box I could find that was big enough, dude. It was for a vacuum.
Here's a question
I don't know why we still had the box. It was in a closet, dude.
Asked from the very start of making these SpongeBob theories. How is there fire underwater? It's probably one of the most obvious contradictions in this show, and the creators will usually go out of their way to draw attention to the fact that it doesn't make any sense.
At least it's warm around the fire.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
Whoever said this obviously has no idea about the physical limitations of life underwater. Might as well throw these in the fire.
So finally, I will give the people my answer to this infamous age-old question, how is there fire underwater? It's just a cartoon. I'm not kidding, that's actually my answer. SpongeBob is not the real world. It's a cartoon. It has its own cartoon logic where absurd things like fire being underwater can happen. But that doesn't mean there's nothing here to theorize about. Just because it's cartoon logic doesn't mean it's not still logic. If you pay close attention, you can see that there is a consistent internal logic and rules to how this cartoon world really works. And I think how SpongeBob cartoon logic works is best explained in the Season 3 episode...
All these years, dude, I think my brain is fried. There's a consistent logic to the physical reality of the Bikini Bottom. Dude, I don't know if you could see the steam coming out of my head, dude.
Idiot box. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick spend the day playing inside of a box, but Squidward keeps hearing impossible sound effects coming from it.
SpongeBob?
And how are they creating these sound effects?
How are you two making those noises?
Imagination.
With their imagination. And this is key to understanding how the SpongeBob world really works. This episode tells us that anything that is imagined...
Do you think when they made this episode, do you think they knew that this would go so hard? Like, that imagination line went triple platinum. No features, dude. I'm telling you. To this day, I still randomly find myself busting out the imagination. You know what I'm saying? To this day, I'm still busting out imagination. You know what I mean? To this day, I'll still bust that out.
Imagined in SpongeBob can physically come to life. We can see this imagination rule in every single episode of the show. The most obvious example of this is when a character is thinking and a thought bubble appears above their head. But in SpongeBob, these thought bubbles are real physical things. Other characters can see and physically interact with them.
Wait, hold on! My pen is out of ink. Plankton! You'll never get me formula. Not even
So SpongeBob's brain can just materialize into reality, dude. That's what you're telling me. This is what you're telling me. I can't say I'm shocked, honestly. Can't say. You remember when we watched the death battle? Right? We watched the death battle with SpongeBob, and they were just like, yeah, SpongeBob is like the most powerful being that's ever been imagined in the history of ever. He breaks the fabric of time, shatters all of reality, everything. It transcends the cosmos, dude. Like, there's beyond human comprehension levels of power SpongeBob has, dude. So this doesn't surprise me at all.
in a flashback.
Because things imagined in SpongeBob come to life. And this goes far beyond just thought bubbles. It explains how characters are constantly getting new props and costumes out of nowhere. Where did SpongeBob suddenly get this hat and sign? Where did he get this glove or all of these costumes that instantly appear and disappear? It's because SpongeBob is imagining all of these props. This can be used to explain almost every single absurd gag in this show.
Wait, Patrick, you're supposed to let me win, remember?
Oh Oh, yeah.
Patrick is imagining
Do
himself
you
getting
think
beat
SpongeBob ultimately is the one that decides whether or not you get let into the pearly gates?
up here.
Said it's gonna be a good one, just
You know,
wait and
like
see.
SpongeBob is God.
SpongeBob is imagining the sun talking to him and burning his bedroom, and SpongeBob and Patrick are imagining that fire is able to exist underwater. And if you still don't believe me, look what happens when Patrick questions the logic behind the fire.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
The
And now there's
moment they
no-
start doubting the logic of the fire, it disappears because
Dude.
they're no longer able to imagine it. This rule also seems to be limited by how imaginative each character is. Squidward, who never even got the idiot box to work, rarely ever manifests any imaginations, while SpongeBob, arguably the most imaginative character in the show, has created
Okay,
living
so there's power scaling levels to this. There's my hero levels of power scaling, dude. Squidward weak as fuck. Squidward weak as his imagination. This is like, dude, I imagine if they made a SpongeBob anime, right? They've all got their own variations of, like, you know, chi and energy and whatever, dude. The shit that gives you your powers, dude. And for Bikini Bottom, it's imagination, dude. It's imagination, dude. SpongeBob's got the strongest imagination under the sea, and that's what makes him the most powerful, dude. That is insane. That's what I'm saying, Nen. You know what I mean? Like that's their Nen, dude. That's their imagination. You know what I'm saying? If you want to manifest, you gotta have some strong imagination, dude. You know what I mean?
characters like Doodle Bob and Bubble Buddy using his imagination, both of which have ended up continually reappearing throughout the entire show. Bubble Buddy even went on to create an entire bubble town full of bubble citizens, all stemming from SpongeBob's imagination.
Dude,
This
Bubble
theory
Buddy's probably fucking super powerful too.
also explains why Mrs. Puff gets trapped in so many delusions. They are literally manifesting around her because of her imagination. Okay, but what's the point of explaining all of this? Even if you didn't know the exact mechanics of it, you probably already understood that random stuff can just appear and disappear in a cartoon. I'm not really telling you anything groundbreaking, but once you fully understand this idea, it adds a whole new context to so many things in this show. One of the most interesting being how dreams seem to affect the world, specifically SpongeBob's dreams. In Season 1 Sleepy Time, SpongeBob dreams about finally getting his license, but then he crashes and Mrs. Puff takes his license away. And this is exactly what happens later in the Season 2 episode, No Free Rides. Mrs. Puff gives him a license, instantly regrets it, and after SpongeBob crashes his car, Mrs. Puff takes his license away.
Holy
So,
shit.
did SpongeBob's dream predict this event?
Okay. But that could just be a coincidence, dude. Like, we know who SpongeBob is, right? We know SpongeBob is the world's worst driver. We know this, right? So, the fact that he crashes and gets his license taken away a couple of times throughout multiple episodes, that doesn't seem like they're related. You know what I mean? Like him being a bad driver is part of his thing. So of course he's gonna crash and get his shit taken away a couple of times. You know what I mean?
Or did his imagination literally cause it to happen? Okay, you're not convinced yet? Don't worry. This is far from the only instance of this happening. In Season 2 Procrastination, SpongeBob dreams about his pineapple burning down, which happens later in Season 9.
Again, dude, Procrastination, top 10 episodes, dude. The Break Time, dude, legendary.
Gary's new toy.
Fucking
In Season
legendary.
5 Roller Cowards, he dreams about crashing on a Glove World roller coaster, and then it happens in Season 10 Don't Wake Patrick. Even dreams we don't see come true. In Squids on a Bus, Squidward becomes a bus driver for the day, and SpongeBob says this.
I've always dreamed one day I'd board a bus and see you driving it.
Now, I already know what you're gonna say. SpongeBob's a very long-running show. A lot of these basic plots were bound to happen eventually, right?
That's
You know,
what I'm
it's like
saying.
how The Simpsons can predict the future. But In Season 4's Fear of Krabby Patties, SpongeBob dreams about everyone in the Krusty Krab turning into giant killer Krabby Patties.
Dude, this
That
kind of
is a
scared
very
me.
weird and specific plot, and yet that's still exactly what happens 7 seasons later in Krabby Patty Creature Feature, when Mr. Krabs feeds people experimental Krabby Patties and turns everyone into giant mutant Krabby Patty monsters that try to hunt SpongeBob down.
Nice, dude.
It seems like all of SpongeBob's dreams eventually manifest into real life because of the unlimited power of his imagination. Okay, that's all
Oh
pretty
god, dude, it's a gift and a curse. Oh no, dude. Dude, that's the trade-off, dude. You could become so powerful that it becomes harmful for your own damn self, dude. You just have so much power, you can't control, you don't know what to do with it. You have no idea what to do with it.
interesting,
Oh,
right?
no.
But
He kind of reminds me of myself, dude.
wanna know
Not gonna
something
lie.
really crazy? While researching this theory, I discovered something insane.
Alex, this is a mini theory. This is supposed to be a mini theory, dude. We've got 7 more to go through, dude.
Honestly, it may be one of the craziest discoveries I've ever found in this show. Are you ready? In the Season 6 special, Truth or Square, all of the characters get trapped inside of the massive ventilation system beneath the Krusty Krab.
There's an entire network of tunnels and air ducts underground.
At a certain point, Mr. Krabs gets separated from the group.
A crossroads. I'll go this way, and SpongeBob, you lead him down that way.
SpongeBob then takes a break to tell the story of when Mr. Krabs told him the Krabby Patty secret formula.
This reminds me of the time Mr. Krabs confided in me the Krabby Patty recipe. Mr. Krabs called me into his office.
And then something really strange happens.
God.
After the story, we cut back to the group, and Mr. Krabs is somehow back with them after previously being separated. I'm
Eugene, where the hell did you come from?
After the story, we cut back to the group, and Mr. Krabs is somehow back with them after previously being separated. I'm serious. There's no scene of them being reunited. He's just gone and then back somehow, and it's never explained in this episode. I mean, what was even the point of wasting time and money animating them split up if they were just gonna immediately bring Mr. Krabs back without any explanation?
I'll go this way.
Well, okay, but look, right? Look, so they separated, right? And then he fell, right? They fell. They were already separated. So, like, what if that's just the layout, you know? Like, Mr. Krabs goes his way, they go their way. They break out of here, they fell down into the other duct, and that's the one that Mr. Krabs, like, crawled through. And so he's just in the same duct that they fell through. You know what I mean?
Up if they were just gonna immediately bring Mr. Krabs back without any explanation.
I'll go this way, and SpongeBob, you lead him down that way.
You could literally remove the scene of Mr. Krabs separating from them and the episode would make total sense. But wait a second. Look at how SpongeBob's story ends.
You can never tell another living soul. Wait, hold on! Plankton! You'll never get me formula, not even in a flashback.
You think he came from the fucking imagination? Dude, you're not gonna tell me jump through the fucking thought bubble.
SpongeBob.
Imaginary Mr. Krabs from inside of the thought bubble grabs Plankton and throws him down a vent. And when we cut back, Mr. Krabs is suddenly back sitting
Stop,
with the group.
dude.
The obvious explanation is that this isn't the real Mr. Krabs. This is still the imaginary
Oh
Krabs from
my
SpongeBob's story who came
gosh.
to life. And the real Mr. Krabs is still somewhere lost inside of the Krusty Krab vents, and they never switched back.
Oh my
the Mr.
God.
Krabs they escape with is not the real Mr. Krabs. And every time we see
He's an imposter! Oh my God, Mr. Krabs is a sussy baka. Dude, everything I know is a lie.
Mr. Krabs after this season 6 episode, he's actually a fake imaginary doppelganger, and the real one is still trapped
He's
beneath
just
the Krusty
lost.
Krab somewhere. It's the reason why Mr. Krabs in later seasons has become such a one-dimensional character, going from someone who was cheap but still genuinely cared about his employees and family to a one-note cartoon villain. It's because he actually was replaced by a flat, imaginary imitation of the original. And I know what you're gonna say, there's no way SpongeBob would imagine him to be that way.
Dude!
Well, think again.
Show me what you got.
Look at me. I'm Mr. Krabs. I love money. Every night I tuck me wallet in and tell it a bedtime story. Oh, what's
Nah,
that you say?
bro,
Me daughter
stop
Pearl needs an
it.
operation? I'll do it myself.
Dude.
Save a nickel.
Dude, it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me, dude. I'm getting those feelings again like we was watching Squilliam, bro. Oh my gosh, dude. Alexander's keeping me. We on the first miniseries, dude. We just getting warmed up. And I'm already feeling warm and tingly, dude.
That'll do, SpongeBob.
Let's fucking go.
And that is the imagination theory. 7 more mini-theories left, woo!
Let's go. Okay.
The show SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. The television theory is the best SpongeBob theory I have ever made.
Dude,
it's
television
not-
theory was nuts. Television theory was nuts. I think he's gonna put evolution up there. That one was fucking crazy. Those are the only two top tier ones I can think of. You know what I mean? Like if we're talking top 2, TV's up there, evolution's up there.
Not even close. If you were to ask me if any of my theories were actually intended by the creators, I'd definitely say the television theory. There is just so much evidence that this was actually planned from the start, and now 3 years later, there's a movie that's directly confirming it. This theory literally changes everything about this show, and it's big that—
What is this Wait a minute. Hold on, dude. I've been living under a fucking rock.
was actually planned from the
What
start,
did you
and
say?
now 3 years
Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. What the hell is this? When the hell did this come out, dude? Saving Bikini... When the fuck did this come out? How long have I... It got leaked a few months ago. Entirely. It got leaked. So it didn't drop. Somebody just fucking leaked it, dude. Why do people be leaking? This is not a Playboy Cardi album, dude. How the hell do you leak a Netflix movie on Twitter? How do you leak a SpongeBob Netflix movie on Twitter before the movie comes out, dude? I don't know how that happens. I don't know. They also leak. There's a Plankton. Why is there a Plankton movie? Why is this a movie? Is this movie... I've got a lot of questions. Is this movie good? Is the Plankton movie good? Why the hell did they decide to leak these things? Why the hell did they decide to make these things, dude? Why the hell am I just now finding out about these things, dude? There's a lot of unanswered questions here.
later, there's a movie that's directly confirming it. This theory literally changes everything about this show, and it's so big that I end up using it in almost all of my future theories, and I've got a bunch of new television theory-related discoveries inside of the coming mini-theories too. Speaking of which...
Scary skeletons and
Dude, just in time for spooky season, dude. I love it. I love it.
down your spine.
Banger.
So, there's this viral image that's gone around the internet that points out a really funny detail about this show. There seems to be a frightening number of miniature dead human skeletons in SpongeBob. And it's a really funny observation, but it's also...
I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna make a joke, but I think I should keep it to myself. I think I should keep it to myself.
Also really strange because why are...
Dude, I'm gonna say it. Dude. Yeah, dude, there's human remains at the bottom of the ocean, bro. It's the human remains of my ancestors jumping off the boats. I said it! There, I said it! There, I said it, dude!
Are there a bunch of mini dead human skeletons in SpongeBob? Like, the animators already have a generic design for a fish skeleton. Why are they going out of their way to make these human skeletons? They're obviously much more detailed and harder to draw. And this is something we see in both early and...
Dude, Smitty! He was #1!
Modern SpongeBob. Well, I think the television theory actually provides a pretty good explanation for this. We know there's tons of human scuba divers secretly filming the show, and it even looks like some of them are fish-sized. And we know there is shrinking technology in this show, so like I've already said, I think it's fair to assume that humans shrunk themselves down to better film these characters undetected. Which explains why we see so many tiny human skeletons. They're the crew members who sadly passed away during the filming of SpongeBob. They are deep underwater, after all. It's not the safest place for humans to be.
Yeah,
and
that sounds a lot better than what I said. It sounds a whole lot better than what I said.
That's about all I had to say about this topic. It's not actually that interesting. I probably wouldn't have even bothered making this separate mini-theory if it wasn't for a very interesting piece of SpongeBob history that was recently made public.
Dude, he always does this. That's the Alex Bale formula, right? That's the Alex Bale formula. You get an intro, right? He hits you with the intro, gives you some background knowledge. And then he gets you comfortable and warms you up, dude. Softens you up. He plays like a nice, happy piano, you know, like a nice frolicking through a meadow backtrack. And then he goes... But, and then the music switches to like a dark vampire organ. The colors darken, dude. It fades, and he switches to a thing zooming in on me, dude.
The original SpongeBob pitch Bible, the document created by Steven Hillenburg in 1997 to pitch the show to Nickelodeon, was just recently finally made available to the public. And it is full of fascinating early ideas and concept art for the show. But what's interesting to me is that much like the show itself, the pitch Bible is presented like a fictional in-universe report from a team of deep-sea divers discovering Bikini Bottom for the first time. An afternoon ascent into the deep crystalline gulf, which plummets from the island's coral base, reveal the natural wonder which had so long eluded the eyes of mankind. We had indeed found Spongeboy, which was the original name for SpongeBob. There before us, glistening in the glow of our dive lamps, sat a submerged
SpongeBob was a discovery, dude. A scientific breakthrough discovery.
Unlike any other in the world. We were afforded a first-hand glimpse into the character of Spongeboy and his world. It's crazy that even the pitch Bible for this show has lore. If this doesn't prove the television theory, I don't know what does. But there's something in this Bible that I always thought was a little strange. On page 12, there's a dedication section. It describes one of the first expeditions.
That's the guy from the movie! What's his name? What's the dude's name? He runs the gift shop.
expeditions to Bikini Bottom taken by a deep-sea diver named Bucky Leavitt, using a new and untested diving suit, which ultimately imploded from the undersea pressures. Bucky died, making the only known map of Bikini Bottom. It is to Bucky and his pioneer spirit that we dedicate this research. It's kind of a strange thing to include in a pitch for a kid's show, of all things. The story seems to be inspired by Benjamin Leavitt, the inventor of the suit shown in this photo, but there's no record of him ever dying during an expedition. So it seems like this story about Bucky was completely...
When you look at this suit, it's kind of horrifying. Like, I can see why they made a Scooby-Doo villain out of this. Because, like, that suit's kind of creepy. Like, just this old, like, this photo up here is horrifying. Like, if you just found that, like, in somebody's attic, I would think I'd be cursed, dude.
Kid show of all things.
The Cyclops!
The story seems to be inspired by Benjamin Leavitt, the inventor of the suit shown in this photo, but there's no record of him ever dying during an expedition. So it seems like this story about Bucky was completely made up just to add more lore to the show. So it then begs the question, if he is a character in this universe, where is Bucky's body? Could he possibly be...
Do you think he's Smitty? He was #1!
One of the human skeletons we've seen throughout the show? Well, we know Bucky died in his old prototype diving suit, so I think his body would probably still be inside of it. So the real question is, do we know of any diving suits in Bikini Bottom? And yes, we do. We see it almost every episode. Spongebob?
Oh my fucking god! Dude! What? No! His fucking head! Stop, dude. You telling me SpongeBob's got his head on display like it's Walt Disney, dude? Stop! That is absolutely insane. Nah, dude. Nah, bro.
Bob's television.
Oh my god, dude. What?
SpongeBob's TV is clearly supposed to be...
This might be more, like, sinister than the evolution theory, dude. Like, yeah, dude, slaughtering somebody's mother and using her body to feed the masses, that's pretty dark, dude. But using somebody's dead carcass as a decoration in your house? Dude. That's nuts.
Be an old diving suit helmet, but it's strange because it's so small compared to diving suits we've seen worn by other humans. So either this diving suit is from a shrunken human, or it's been compressed down to a smaller size by the pressures of the sea, just like Bucky's. We even see SpongeBob's TV design was a part of the original pitch Bible. I think there's a very good chance that this is supposed to be at least the head of Bucky Leavitt. I think every time SpongeBob is watching TV, he's actually staring directly at a dead human skull. And if you don't believe me, in Season 10's Whirly Brain, SpongeBob and Patrick fight over the TV and actually pull it apart. And for the very first time ever, we get a look inside. It's an extremely fast moment, but if you go frame by frame, you'll see that inside of SpongeBob's TV is what looks like...
Dude! Stop, bro!
Like a human skull.
What?
And that is Skeleton Theory. Rest in peace, Bucky.
How are these mini theories so... Dude, why do these mini theories go just as hard as the regular ones, dude? You know, dude, you know those old Disney shorts? Or the Pixar ones? Right? You'd be sitting in the theater, you ready to watch, you know, Monsters, Inc., and the fucking, the dude playing chess comes up. Classic, right? That's what this is, dude. That's what this is, dude. Like, the minis go stupid hard. Why? Why? Literally, why? I say this every video. I say this every video, dude. It's still like 90 degrees outside during the day. Okay? My window is in front of me. Right there. Wide open. Wide open, dude. Okay, I live in an apartment. Wide open. It is 10 o'clock at night. It is 10 o'clock at night. I'm watching a video about Spongebob SquarePants. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, dude. How do you think my neighbors feel? You know what I mean? How do you think my neighbors feel?
So, the Mrs. Puff theory. I guess maybe a few people might have watched this one. Yeah, so this is the one that really took off.
I don't know,
and
you
for good
fucking
reason.
tell me,
It's really
dude.
the one theory where
Why
the
is it
creators
hot
just
outside?
straight up
Global
unambiguously hand us the lore. You know, as opposed to the usual vague details and Easter eggs that may or may not be hinting at something. But how does it hold up now? Well, you might be surprised to hear that I'd probably only put it in 4th place. I think the first 2/3 are really
not bad.
strong, and it could have been one of my best theories, but then I kind of go on this weird tangent in the 3rd part with this random background warden character with a bunch of assumptions and a kind of weak final connection to this vaguely similar picture.
This is another
I
one
think
of
I
those
just really
where it's just like kind of whatever, you know? Very not super deep, just kind of right, straightforward to the point, you know what I mean?
wanted to give this theory more of a sense of closure and a final big twist, but that ultimately made it feel kind of forced in the end. But I have since ended up coming up with so many new ideas and discoveries for this theory that I decided to just make the next mini theory just a straight up Mrs. Puff Part 2. So if we pretend like this new stuff was always part of the theory, I think I'll bump it up to 2nd place where it rightfully belongs. So without
okay.
further ado, here is the Mrs. Puff
Okay.
theory Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo, dude. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Mrs. Puff the Squeakwall.
So, there's been a lot of new evidence that's come out about Mrs. Puff since I posted my theory. Some I already added to the main theory, like her real name being discovered, so go watch that if you haven't already. But I saved some really cool discoveries and new
Blowfish.
ideas just for this mini theory. Like, in Lighthouse Louie, I missed this the first time, but if you look closely in her pile of junk, you can actually see a dead police officer's corpse. Oh my god! Ah! Ah! Actually, no, this is just an obstacle from her training course. But I bet you didn't know, in Camp Coral, we see her dispose of the real Mrs. Puff's dead
Yeah.
body.
Is this do people watch this? Be honest. Be honest. Do people watch this? Camp Coral. Is this do they still make this? Like, do they still make, like, is there a new episode of Camp Coral tonight at 8? Is that a thing that they still do? I did, but generally no. That's fair.
Body. Ah! 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 Also no, this is just a piñata that looks like her. Okay, but they're clearly trying to mess with us at this point. Before I get into the actual new discoveries, I want to talk about some alternative ideas I've come up with for some parts of the Mrs. Puff theory. As I've already said, I'm not the biggest fan of where I took the 3rd part of this theory. I really wanted there to be this big reveal about why the prison is forcing Mrs. Puff to teach SpongeBob, when in reality, it just makes so much more sense that, like in Doing Time, every time Mrs. Puff sees SpongeBob in jail, she's actually just hallucinating.
Good day, class. I must be having a nightmare.
You know, there's just way more direct evidence in the show to support this, as opposed to this convoluted warden theory. And it's further supported by my new imagination mini theory from earlier in this video. We know the show exists in a world where things you imagine can
And
easily—
Mrs. Puff is pretty fucking strong, dude. If we put this in like Dragon Ball Z terms, you know what I'm saying? SpongeBob is Goku, right? And then Mrs. Puff is like a Gohan. You know what I mean? Or like, what's the guy that almost beat the shit out of Goku? I haven't watched that far, dude. I haven't watched that far. Who's the guy?
come to life. And Mrs. Puff is constantly
He's like buff as shit.
imagining her fear of SpongeBob
wears a,
or the guilt from her past mistakes. So it makes sense that she would get trapped in her own delusion
the red
so
Nike
often.
Dry Fit.
But
no, not Broly. Not Broly. The bald guy. The bald guy.
there's always been this
I don't know. I haven't watched that far, dude. I stopped at Cell. Or not Cell. Boo? Boo comes after that, right? Boo? I stopped at Boo. Not Frieza.
She would get trapped in her own delusion so often. But there's
Krillin. Yeah, dude, Krillin. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
always been this big loose end in my theory that I've always wanted to find a way to wrap up. We know Mrs. Puff prematurely gave a license to one of her previous students in New Kelp City, and that led to the city being destroyed.
Local consensus places the blame on this negligent, selfish driving instructor.
But who was Mrs. Puff's original student before SpongeBob? And while we haven't gotten any new evidence about this, I think I've got two strong candidates for who it could be. One of the best comments
Vegeta. It wasn't Vegeta. It wasn't Boo either. Who's the fucking bald dude? Oh my god, you guys are about to piss me off. Now I gotta look it up myself. Now I gotta look it up my goddamn self because none of you were helpful. Not one of you. Not a single one of you. Okay, what do I type in? That's his fucking name. There it is, chicken. That's the guy. Jiren. Jiren. That fucking guy. That guy. Yes. Yes. Okay. We're good. We're good. Look at somebody's here competent. Is competent, dude. I'm not surprised it's chicken either. Not surprised. I'm not surprised.
From the Mrs. Puff video
you've been promoted in rank.
Was the idea that the original student was actually SpongeBob's cousin, Stanley SquarePants.
Wait. You telling me the whole family can't drive? You telling me the whole family is just tormenting this poor woman, dude?
For who it could be. One of the best comments I got from the Mrs. Puff video was the idea that the original student was actually SpongeBob's cousin, Stanley SquarePants.
Dude, it's like right, you've got the SquarePants family and Mrs. Puff, right? And then you've got the Kardashians, and then you've got society, right? It's the same thing. You can't escape. Whether or not, it doesn't matter where you go, they're always here. They're always right around the corner, ready to torment and torture you for another day. Doesn't matter how far away you move, doesn't matter how far you run, they will always be here.
Hi, Squidward. I'd like you to meet my cousin Stanley. We're related.
There's two of them?
Stanley is a character we meet for only one episode in Season 5. He's SpongeBob's cousin from out of town, and he's extremely accident-prone, even more than SpongeBob. Now, we don't know what town he's from, but we know his Uncle Sherm sent him away because
Stanley's like the cousin you don't want to go on the walk with for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? You know, during Thanksgiving, you go on the walk before dinner. You know the walk, right? You don't invite Stanley to the walk, dude. You don't. Because then Stanley starts bugging out, and he starts seeing things, and then he starts hearing things, and then it carries over to dinner time, and he's tripping out at dinner time, and then Aunt's like, Stanley, what the hell is wrong with you? And then Stanley's just fucking, he freaks out, and then he snitches, blurts it out. He's like, oh my god, fucking SpongeBob took me on a walk, dude. And now everybody's mad at SpongeBob because Stanley's tweaking the hell out because SpongeBob took him on a walk for... Dude.
because he was too destructive. So he totally fits the idea of Mrs. Puff's former student that probably destroyed New Kelp City. It would also add another layer to why Mrs. Puff is so tortured by SpongeBob specifically. He would literally look and act exactly like her former student.
There's 2 of them?
So yeah, I think this is totally plausible. Great comment. The only thing that kind of holds this theory back is the lack of any actual concrete connection between Stanley and Mrs. Puff. Like, unfortunately, they're never in the same episode. But
I like how this is just, yeah. Mrs. Puff had a former student that was a horrible driver that wrecked the entire city. So logically, the only person that it could be is Stanley, the relative of SpongeBob, right? We have no other physical damning evidence whatsoever that connects Stanley to the crime scene. We are just going on pure vibes, dude. Love it. Love it. Just nothing but straight vibes, dude.
I have another possible candidate for this mystery student. Someone who we actually see interact with Mrs. Puff. In the Mrs. Puff theory, I theorized that the entire episode doing time was all imagined by Mrs. Puff, and everything we see, even small details like her changing prison uniforms, are symbolic for what's really going on inside of her head. But if that's true, then what does this random other prisoner that keeps showing up symbolize?
Hey there, Puff Mama. What's today's grub?
Hi, Donna. It's Chili.
Fucking Donna, dude!
Hey there, Puff Mama. What's today's grub?
Hi, Donna. It's Chili.
I
Let's
wouldn't have
fucking
thought
go.
much about it if it wasn't for this very interesting moment where she returns at the end of the episode.
Oh, it's just my imagination again.
So what's for dinner tonight, Puff Mama? Chili?
I think this could be implying that
Oh, shit. Use that pickup line, chat. Use that one. Hey, what's for dinner tonight, Puff Mama? Chili? Dude, spit that in a thotty, bro. I'm telling you. Dude. Riz somebody up with that, dude. Puff Mama.
Donna is Mrs. Puff's original student. We see her driving Mrs. Puff's boat in a free-fall crash, just like her old student probably also did. And then she literally gets replaced by SpongeBob.
So what's for dinner tonight, Puff Mama? Chili?
Forget it.
Just like how we
Dude, OG SpongeBob, like, there's just nothing like it, bro. Like, we've said this so many times. Everybody already knows this, dude. It doesn't have to be said. But, like, literally, there's nothing like it, bro. Literally, like, I'm watching these clips, and I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass man. It's 10:15 at night, dude. I'm watching 5-second SpongeBob clips, and I'm laughing, dude. Like, there's nothing better than this, bro. Literally.
Forget it.
just like how we actually replaced her original student. So yeah, I think both Donna and Stanley are pretty good candidates for the original student. Stanley is a bit more thematically fitting, but Donna actually has some direct evidence in the show. So yeah, I could see it being either of them, but that's all just tying up loose ends.
You think that's why Donna's in jail? You think that's why Donna's in jail? Because Donna was convicted on all those How many charges do you think a person would get, dude? However many charges of, like, destruction of property, probably reckless driving, you know what I'm saying? Attempted, like, murder. There's probably, like, some vehicular manslaughter charges in there, dude. Like, that's a rap sheet, dude. That's it. She's serving a sentence, dude. Donna's in there for a bid, bro. She's in there for at least 15. Gotta be. If people died, she's in there for life. She's in there for life. Unless she took a plea deal. But I don't think Donna's the type to take a plea deal. Absolutely not.
The real reason I decided to cover Mrs. Puff again in this mini-theory is because of two major new developments in recent SpongeBob episodes. The first is in the season 13 episode, Arbor Day Disarray.
They
in
made
this
an
episode,
Arbor Day episode? Dude, finally, a real holiday getting some recognition, dude. A real fucking holiday, dude.
Sandy gives everyone trees she grew, and we get this scene between Mrs. Puff and her tree.
I love talking to someone who knows how to keep a secret. I can finally tell someone what really happened when I pulled that job in Shell City.
What really happened when I pulled that job in Shell City? They're still adding more mysteries to solve about Mrs. Puff. It sounds like Mrs. Puff did some kind of heist, or maybe has some...
Dude. She pulled off a T-Grizzly jewelry heist, bro. Pulled off that job in Shell City, dude. What? Is this a GTA mission?
Connection to Shell City.
Shell City! Shell fucking City! Did she rob Shell City?
From the SpongeBob movie. And if you remember, I theorized that Shell City was the place Mr. Puff, her former dead husband, was being held. They end up setting off the smoke detector, which activates the sprinkler system and brings all the dead fish back to life, including a very familiar looking pufferfish hanging from the ceiling. Mr. Puff is alive. So, is it possible this job is somehow related to Mr. Puff? Well, before we get into that, there is one more new development we need to talk about. In the season 14 episode, Hysterical History, for the very first time ever, we actually do get to definitively see Mr. Puff when he was alive.
Oh,
Bikini
really?
Bottom's own titan of industry,
What
Mr.
the
Puff,
fuck?
ran the first successful boat.
Mr. fucking Puff! He looks racist.
Bikini Bottom's own titan of industry, Mr. Puff, ran the first successful boat assembly line.
Oh, okay. So he's like Henry Ford, dude. So he's absolutely racist.
Of industry, Mr. Puff ran the first successful boat assembly line.
So, this episode is just a bunch of flashbacks from Bikini Bottom's history, and we learn that Mr. Puff was actually a wealthy businessman who ran a boat factory. And Sandy later confirms that this is all actually true. This isn't just a story SpongeBob made up. Now, Mr. Puff looks and sounds a lot like Mrs. Puff.
Speed up, line number 5.
And the other flashbacks in this episode seem to be about ancestors of our main
What you
characters.
doing to that urchin?
So maybe this is actually supposed to be just a relative of Mrs. Puff, not her dead husband. But remember, Mrs. Puff is not originally from Bikini.
Because Mr. Puff ran the first boating assembly, right? She's teaching a boating school. He had to have been older, so she's got to be like a great-grandchild or something, you know?
Bottom. And we know her last name isn't really Puff. It's Blowfish. So this is most likely her former husband, Mr. Puff, before he died. And unfortunately, this does seem to disprove my Mr. Puff theory, because he...
Or what if that's his dad, you know? What if that's Pops or some shit, right? Mr. Puff is a trust fund kid.
Clearly looks very different than the pufferfish we see in Shell City. But even if this pufferfish wasn't Mr. Puff, I don't think I was wrong about Mr. Puff being at Shell City. The fact that he's shown as a dried up, hanging pufferfish with googly eyes is way too similar to be a coincidence. And then there's the fact that they just confirmed Mrs. Puff has some sort of history with Shell City specifically. I think Mr. Puff was abducted and taken to Shell City, but the reason why we don't see him in the SpongeBob movie is probably because he was already sold to someone else by that point, meaning he was unfortunately never saved by SpongeBob. So that leaves us with one final question. What was the job Mrs. Puff pulled at Shell City, and what does it have to do with her husband's death? Well, my first guess is that this job was some sort of rescue mission to save Mr. Puff from Shell City, and she failed. But listen to how she talks about it.
Dude, she's devious. She is cynical the way she did. She absolutely hit her a lick, dude.
Finally tell someone what really happened when I pulled that job in Shell City.
Whatever happened at Shell
Sinister.
City, she's happy about it. In fact, it's kind of a sinister, nefarious
Wow.
happiness.
What really
That's what I said.
when I pulled that job?
She's not devastated that her husband was lost forever, she's happy about it. I never really considered this before, but could Mrs. Puff actually be responsible for her husband's death? Did Mrs. Puff kill her husband? I mean, we know Plankton sold Neptune's crown to Shell
I wouldn't put it past her. Mrs. Puff is a thug, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if she was like King Von Thug, dude. She had some bodies on her.
City.
I just wanted to say thanks again for selling me the crown. I sold it to a guy in Shell City.
So it does seem possible to arrange for this kind of thing to happen. And Arbor Day Disarray ends with Mrs. Puff's tree ratting her out to the police.
Hello, police department? I got a lead on that Shell City job.
I gotta go.
Why would the Bikini Bottom police
First of all, snitch. Second of all, what the hell, dude?
I gotta go.
Why would the Bikini Bottom police care about something she did at a human gift shop? I mean, they didn't care when Spongebob stole from there. The only explanation is that she wasn't stealing from humans, she was giving them something or someone from Bikini Bottom, Mr. Puff.
Oh my
Mrs.
god,
Puff.
dude! She was smuggling backwards, dude! She was trafficking! Mrs. Puff is a trafficker! That's insane. That is absolutely insane. I didn't think those words would ever be uttered out of my mouth, dude. Mrs. Puff is a trafficker.
Arranged for fishermen to kidnap and kill her husband. That's what really happened at Shell
Dude!
City. But,
What the hell?
well, other than Mr. Puff kind of seeming like a jerk who mistreats his employees, he's also very wealthy, which means that when he died, in a way that can't be traced back to Mrs. Puff, as his wife, she would inherit his money. Which explains how Mrs. Puff, who previously had to abandon her entire life and start over from scratch in Bikini Bottom, could afford to open a massive boating school. Maybe this was her plan all along. Get close to some rich jerk, marry him, and then have him killed to inherit his money. These little breadcrumbs they've given us have told us so much more about Mrs. Puff's past. But also, maybe, just maybe,
But I don't know, dude. I don't think that there's a coincidence that she just picked a rich dude, because like they're both into boating. You know what I mean? He opened the boating assembly line and she teaches boating school. So there's a connection there. I don't think she just you know what I mean? She married a rich dude who just happened to make boats and then she just wanted to, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some type of relation there.
her future as well. Mr. Puff was portrayed as a greedy, unethical capitalist who only cared about money, even at the expense of his employees. And does that remind you of anyone else in Mrs. Puff's life?
Oh my god. Mrs. Puff is a gold digger! Think about it! Think about it! First, Mrs. Puff, or Mr. Puff, right? Mr. Puff, billionaire, wealthy, boating founder, right? And now Mr. Krabs, successful entrepreneur, restaurateur. How many people do you know own a successful restaurant? One of the only successful restaurants in town, dude. Mr. Krabs is loaded, dude. He owns a duplex. Mr. Krabs owns a duplex, dude. His daughter lives on the other side. He owns a duplex, pays all the bills. He owns a restaurant, dude. Mrs. Puff is a gold digger. You know what I say about the gold diggers, dude. Stay away from them, dude. Cause look at what happens. Look at what happened to Mr. Puff, dude. Stay away from the gold diggers, dude. Be careful.
Unhand that penny or the arm comes off. Keep on trucking, SpongeBob.
How could you trade SpongeBob for
This is
62
insane.
cents?
You think I could have gotten more?
If she did it to Mr. Puff, who's to say she's not planning to do it again to Mr. Krabs? Maybe this is the entire reason why she's dating him. Let's just hope Mr. Krabs isn't
Do you
planning
think
on getting
she's
married.
trying to get the Krusty Krab?
Anytime soon. The imaginary doppelganger Mr. Krabs, that is. And that is the Mrs. Puff theory.
Oh my
part 2.
gosh. Dude, we learned Mrs. Puff is a gold digging trafficker, dude. That is insane. That is dude. These are mini theories, by the way. These are mini theories, by the way. I would like to point that out. These are mini theories, dude. Evolution theory.
Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's mother. The only direct reference we get in the show to Pearl's mother is one of Mr. Krabs' many sayings, Mother of Pearl.
Debunking?
Mother of Pearl! Holy Mother of Pearl!
What do you
He
mean
uses it in place of
debunking?
something like holy crap or dear God, only
Okay,
saying
I
it
gotta
when
skip
something
to the
truly
end.
shocking. So much.
Debunking.
So that's what I taste like.
So, a lot of people think that Krabby Patties are actually made of crab meat, and Mr. Krabs is going around killing all the crabs in Bikini Bottom. This is the comment I will get for the rest of my life.
It's crab meat.
Actual crab? I mean, why else would Mr. Krabs be the only crab in Bikini Bottom? Except for his mom.
Dude,
and
you know, we watched the evolution theory, right? And like that's the theory, right? Like we believe the theory, right? And now, right, we've seen a few videos since then where they're like, yeah, it's made out of crab meat. And then we're sitting here like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. He doesn't know, dude. Who's gonna tell him? He doesn't know, dude.
and his dad and his nephews. Okay, but there's no crabs outside of his family, except for this guy, and this doctor, and this kid, and these two crabs, and this circus guy. But besides them, there's no crabs in Bikini Bottom. Okay, even if there is not, like, a lot of crabs, there's equally not a lot of sponges, or starfish, or pufferfish, or squirrels in Bikini Bottom. Bikini Bottom is like...
Cook their asses, Alex! Talk to them!
90% generic fish. But then why is it named the Krusty Krab? Cause the owner's a crab, and that's his last name. But even if we ignore that, it's like, why would Mr. Krabs advertise his dark secret as the name of his restaurant? But then why is the Krusty Krab shaped like a crab trap? Okay, this is actually the one good piece of evidence in this theory. I think it's a little ambiguous whether it's supposed to be a crab trap or a lobster trap, so I did some digging, and Patchy actually calls it a lobster trap in a SpongeBob DVD bonus.
The Krusty Krab looks like a New England-style lobster trap, but now it just traps the pocket change of Bikini Bottom's hungry denizens.
They also find a very similar looking building in Camp Coral and call it a lobster trap.
Oh no! We've walked into a real life lobster trap!
I could maybe see this evidence kind of working, but you'd kind of expect if this was their secret intention, they would like call it a crab trap, you know? But what about the scene where Mr. Krab eats one and he says that it tastes like him?
So that's what I taste like.
This is supposed to be the smoking gun piece of evidence.
But that is a reference to him being like old and gray. Like the burger, right? Remember? Because the burger, she's like, don't eat that burger, it's old and gray, like that guy over there, right? And so he bites it and he's like, oh, that's what it tastes like, because he knows he's old and gray. You know what I mean? I don't think he bites and he eats crab meat. I think he was referencing the old and gray that they was talking about.
That's all over TikTok, but nobody actually shows the clip with context.
Fucking
Mommy,
dude,
my crab.
Dude, I've got a very strong opinion about something.
So that's what I taste.
I've got a
This
very
is
strong
supposed to
opinion about
be
something.
the smoking gun piece of evidence that's
Well,
all over
hear me out.
TikTok, but
Hear me
nobody
out.
actually.
If you see a TikTok with a person doing this, and in the text above their head, you are about to see the worst take you've ever seen in your fucking life, dude. You're about to see the worst shit that you about to see the worst TikTok video. Look at this fucking guy.
He shows the
Look
clip
at what you're about to see the worst video, dude.
with context.
Mommy, my Crabby Patty tastes funny.
Well, no wonder. It's all old and dried out, like that man.
That's what I... See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Now put that thing where it belongs. In the garbage.
Well, little Patty, we're two of a kind.
The
We've both
fake
lost our
podcasts
luster.
go crazy?
So that's what I taste like.
Mr. Krabs says the patty tastes like him because the lady called the patty old and dry like him. And he's been feeling insecure about his age in this episode.
that's what I
I'm
said,
not
dude.
saying the Pearl's mom theory is the best theory ever, but it's better than this shit. Come on.
Dude, the crab theory sucks. I'm sorry. If you compare the crab theory to the war theory clears. The war theory is not only cooler, right? But it's got more sense, it's got more logic, it's got more evidence. You know what I mean? Right? Like, yeah, okay, it's made out of crab meat. We're talking about Mr. Krabs fought in a war, slaughtered his biggest enemy, and turned her into his biggest bag. And you're telling me that's not hard as hell? Come on now. Come on now.
Alright, the evolution theory. I know I like to call each of my theories the darkest theory I've ever made, but like, this is the actual darkest one. We all know it. This is some sick, twisted shit. I think this theory has its flaws and relies on a couple big assumptions, but at the end of the day, it's still just so entertaining and interesting to me that I'd probably still put it right in the middle at 4th place, even after all the
Really,
corrections.
dude? I like that theory, dude. That's my top 3. Evolution theories in my top 3, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed that one, dude.
And alternative ideas. This next mini theory is also kind of an extension to the evolution theory, but it's also a really interesting brand new theory about the history of Bikini Bottom and the true purpose of this show. Let's get into it.
The human war theory.
So
we've got another war, dude. So Mr. Krabs is just out here, dude. He was just truly in the trenches.
If there's one thing I'd probably change about my evolution theory, it would be the second part about the war.
After the war, Krabs stayed secluded in a deep depression that seemed endless.
I think there definitely was a war in Bikini Bottom, but I don't think it was between evolved and primitive fish anymore. There is just way more evidence that the war Mr. Krabs fought in was actually a war between fish and humans. And I think this concept...
Fucking Iron Eye, bro. This is the Avengers, bro. You want to talk about a dream team? You want to talk about a dream team, dude. This is the one.
Concept for a human war has been secretly present in the show from the very start. Every single building in Bikini Bottom is made out of some sort of debris from the human world. Now this is a reference to how marine ecosystems in real life often form around things that fell from the surface. But the debris isn't always just random objects or pollution. A surprising amount of the buildings feel like they're from the aftermath of a massive war. There are a ton of buildings made out of sunken ships, but there's also anchors, submarines, lobster traps, bait and tackle boxes, undersea mines. There's even a building made out of a dead bucket of fish. If you really look at the show's aesthetic, it gives the impression that Bikini Bottom is an Adventure Time style post-apocalyptic wasteland where a massive war...
You know, that's one of those things where it's right in front of your face the whole damn time, and you still don't see it, dude. You're absolutely right, dude. There's remnants of ships and anchors, dude. Yeah. I never noticed that, dude.
Is an Adventure Time style post-apocalyptic wasteland where a massive war between humans and fish took place. Mr. Krabs' Navy Convention Center is literally a giant torpedo. We get further confirmation of this as early as Season 1 Hooky, when a bunch of humans start fishing in Bikini Bottom. Pay close attention to how Mr. Krabs when a torpedo. We get further confirmation of this as early as Season 1 Hooky, when a bunch of humans...
Is that the original shot? I must have missed that fucking scene.
Start fishing in Bikini Bottom. Pay close attention to how Mr. Krabs reacts.
I thought this was an innuendo about doing drugs. That's what it was supposed to be, right? It was like an innuendo of doing drugs.
And start fishing in Bikini Bottom. Pay close attention to how Mr. Krabs
Once
reacts.
you get hooked, you can't come back.
They're back, I tell you! I saw them with my own eyes!
They're back. Mr. Krabs has dealt with this before, probably because these were the same hooks from the war he fought in. From humans' perspective, they're just fishing, but for the citizens of Bikini Bottom, this was a brutal war. And listen to what he says about what happens if the hooks catch you.
They cook you, and then they eat you, or worse.
What could be worse than that?
Gift shops.
The fucking gift
You'll
shop.
end up
Shell City.
In gift shops. This gives a whole new context to the Shell City gift shop we see in the SpongeBob movie.
Wait a second.
Oh my fucking god! They're prisoners of war! Dude.
Those fish are dead.
All these dead fish are victims from the human war. Look, the gift shop in Hooky even has a very similar sign to the Shell City gift shop. Among the dead fish in Shell City, we specifically see the same type of royal seahorses King Neptune uses, which makes sense because as King of the Sea, he would probably be the one commanding the army to go fight the humans. Movie Neptune even talks about Shell City like he has personal experience with it.
My crown is in the forbidden Shell City! No one who's gone to Shell City.
The forbidden Shell City.
He has ever returned.
I guess this could also mean Mr. Puff was a victim of the war, but I kind of prefer the idea from my new Mrs. Puff mini theory. We also see giant hooks all over Mr. Krabs' wall of memorabilia, along with other human fishing tools. There's even a picture of the Bikini Bottom museum ship before it was sunk in the war and later turned into a museum. There's also this picture of a
Holy shit!
pirate. And before you say anything, no, this is not Patchy. It's probably just someone he fought in the war. Listen, I still definitely think these pictures could be Pearl's mother, and she's still the source of the Krabby Patty meat, but...
You know what? How do you, do this? How do you do this? You know what I mean? How do you one day go, you know what I think? I think Bikini Bottom fought in a war against humans. I'm gonna go watch 400 episodes of SpongeBob, look in the background of a scene that's 4 frames long and find some evidence. How do you do these things? Dude, If anybody's got a big, strong imagination, it's this fucking guy Alex, dude.
Instead of Mr. Krabs killing her, she was probably just a casualty of the human war, and Mr. Krabs just found her dead body and adopted her orphan daughter. There's also the hook.
Okay, now that's fucking depressing. Now that's depressing. Dude, we had this super cool theory of, yeah, Mr. Krabs fought in a war, and he killed her mom, and then is using her meat as Crabby Patty. And now you're gonna sit here. Now you're gonna sit here and tell me, no. Her mom was a casualty in the war against the humans, and Mr. Krabs took this orphaned pearl as his own child because his mother was a casualty in the war he was fighting. Dude, why? What? Do you have fun doing this? Like, do you enjoy watching me sit here and lose my goddamn mind at a Spongebob SquarePants video? Do you find entertainment in watching this, Alex? You sick bastard.
Which with this context looks much more just like a straight up war museum. Now, these are smaller hooks, so I initially thought maybe this was just a museum of hooks made by evolved fish to catch primitive fish like clams, but listen closely to the audio Mr. Krabs is listening to.
The three-pronged jig hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago.
The hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago. This is definitely a museum of human hooks, and we now know this war has been going on for at least 100 years. There's also tons of movies and TV shows in Bikini Bottom based around the horrors of hooks.
Dude, do you think their hooks are like the hooks that the humans used on Bikini Bottom are the equivalent as the nukes used on Japan? Or like, do you think this is more of like I don't know, dude. I don't know. Do you think this is like a grenade type of deal? I don't know, dude. I don't really know how to compare these. This is like a whole new realm, dude.
It's frightening.
Maybe landmines? I don't know.
The idea of this human war is everywhere in the show, and it's played a big role in shaping the culture of Bikini Bottom. But here's the strange thing about all of this. The Bikini Bottom...
With this context, the Fisherman 4 clip is insanely brutal.
Human war is...
Oh my god! That was a child!
The idea of this human
war my god!
is everywhere in the show, and it's played a big role in shaping the culture of Bikini Bottom. But here's the strange thing about all of this. The Bikini Bottom we see today is not at war. The only time we see humans fishing in Bikini Bottom is in this one single episode, and Mr. Krabs even says they're back.
They're back!
As if this is not a normal occurrence. This implies that the humans previously stopped attacking for some reason. So what ended this great human war that lasted for at least 100 years? Well, clearly humans and fish have a much more peaceful relationship now. The entire SpongeBob SquarePants show is made by humans with the help of certain fish, including Mr. Krabs, who used to fight against them. What if the reason why the war ended was because of this show? The original human research team that was mentioned in the SpongeBob Pitch Bible showed the world that Bikini Bottom had extremely intelligent life and proved that instead of killing the fish, they could peacefully profit off of them by making their lives into a TV show. SpongeBob doesn't even know it, but I think he might be the reason why 100-year-long
nice, dude! SpongeBob SquarePants is Naruto, dude. He's the chosen one sent to stop the 100-year war and bring peace to the nations, dude. What? Are we for real?
between humans and fish has come to a peaceful end. And that is the human.
SpongeBob is... Dude, who's fucking with SpongeBob? Be honest. Who's beating SpongeBob? In all honesty, who can beat SpongeBob? Who can beat up SpongeBob? Be real. Dude's out here ending wars with his pure existence, dude. Who's fucking with SpongeBob? Who's fucking with... Shaggy? Get out of here. Get out of here, dude. Once he comes under the water, then we can fucking talk, dude.
War theory.
We've already seen SpongeBob thrive on dry land, dude. 2 different movies. He went on to dry land and came back, dude. Shaggy's not doing that. Shaggy is not doing that. I'm sorry. He is not doing that.
So, the continuity with King Neptune is a bit of a mess. There are 2 different King Neptunes. There's a King Poseidon. There's 3 different royal palaces.
This and the skeleton have been my favorite so far, dude.
So, the Neptune theory...
Like, these are mini theories, and they're just getting crazier and crazier.
This was and still is the most difficult theory I have ever had to piece together by far. There is just so much inconsistent and contradictory information about these characters. Finding a way to actually tell a coherent story with them is not an easy task. Where are we gonna put this one?
I don't know.
6th place. I still think it's a believable theory, but there's just
that one was alright, you know? It was cool. Yeah.
A lot of assumptions.
It was very forgettable, I think. You know, like that one didn't have anything that was too mind-blowing. The big reveal of the theory itself wasn't nothing too crazy itself. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that was just a cool one, you know?
And speculation, and sometimes it gets really convoluted and hard to follow, especially when we get into different branching timelines and talking about what is and isn't canon. But hey, I did the best I could with the messy evidence they gave me. I don't think there is a clean and simple way to connect all of these characters, and I'm proud of what I came up with. On to the next mini theory.
The Grand Pat Theory.
So, in 2021, Nickelodeon released a new spin-off show all about Patrick, called The Patrick Star Show.
Okay, back to my question from before. Do people watch this? Is this something that people actually watch? Do they still make this? Is there a new episode tonight at 8 or some shit? How's you think it's mid? Okay. What's the word on this show, dude? It's pretty good. Okay. I'm not watching it. I promise you that. I am not watching it, so I will let you guys do that for me. I will let you do it for me.
Hi, I'm Patrick Star, and I live with my parents. This is my dad. This is my mom. This is my sister. This is my grandpa.
I don't know.
And this...
I think the thing that makes Patrick... I think the reason why I like Patrick so much is because he's not there all the time. You know what I mean? Like Patrick is hilarious, right? He's one of the best fucking characters in the show, dude. Right? Patrick is hilarious, dude. But I think he's so funny because it's just like random. You know what I mean? Like he'll just randomly say something dumb, or he'll do that thing where he snaps into smart mode or whatever. You know what I mean? But like, it's just like random points where he does something funny. You know what I mean? Couple times an episode, few times an episode, whatever, right? But with this, it's just all straight Patrick. So I don't know if Patrick as a character would hit as much if it's a full show, because I think I like him so much when he's just like kind of sprinkled in as he is. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think Patrick is the one to make a full show for. You know what I mean? Like, the Sandy Cheeks one, I can see that, dude. I can see the Sandy Cheeks one. I just don't know if Patrick's the right one for, like, a full, like, dedicated show.
It's my show!
And I was really interested in it,
but they did it anyways, and it was okay.
Because it seems to kind of acknowledge the fact that it is a TV show, with Patrick actually being filmed and putting on a show as part of the plot of each episode.
Coming to you from the Star Family home, it's time for the Patrick Show! And here's your wide-awake host,
But it's weird. It's supposed to be
Dude, I want a talk show. Could you imagine the Chris Wilson show? Mid-afternoon with Chris? It comes on at like 3:30 p.m. Could you imagine? Dude.
A prequel when Patrick was still living with his family.
I interview Ellen DeGeneres. Switch it up, dude.
Patrick's parents and sister characters that were established in the main show have been replaced by completely different people in this spin-off. This has been a long-running mystery about the Patrick Star Show that many people have asked me to talk about, but a storyboard artist for the Patrick Star Show actually addressed these contradictions in a very funny Twitter thread where he offers many different possible explanations for why Patrick's family looks different. These range from Patrick just perceiving
with the Kelpie G band. Yeah, bro.
Reality differently,
and the fucking the narrator, the French narrator, does like the intro, you know,
to him just assuming whatever starfish is closest to him is his family, to some kind of crazy timeline manipulation. But my favorite is just that they were recast by the in-universe showrunners and Patrick's too dumb to notice. Also, casual television theory confirmation, no biggie, we're used to it at this point. Now, I watched a good amount of this show when it was first coming out, and there
I think it's
wasn't
funny
really
how like
too much here
the
for me.
television theory is like not really much of a theory anymore. It kind of just is what it is. You know what I mean? Just is what it is.
Analyze, except
the TV
for one
theory is
very
dead at this
interesting
point.
character, Grandpat, and it ties directly in with my Neptune theory. Grandpat is allegedly Patrick's grandfather, even though we've never heard about him until now.
Like an old banana.
Ow.
Mom, Dad, who's this guy?
I'm your grandfather, Grandpat. Must we do this every morning?
He's sort of a generic, cranky old man character who's apparently somehow been alive since prehistoric times.
Back in my day, we were food. It was way back in the Patrolithic period of early cave
The Patrolithic period.
But he's not really that notable or interesting of a character, or that's at least what I thought, until I noticed something strange in the episode Squidina's Little Helper.
Sounds like we're doing a puppet show. Follow me.
What the fuck is that? What is that? Who is that? That Mr. Krabs Jr. looking... What is that little crawfish dude? Dude, I am so out of the loop. I am so out of the loop, dude.
The secret crawl space runs all over the house.
As characters move through a crawl space in Patrick's house, one of them briefly...
They're making a Patrick game that's Goat Simulator, but okay, dude.
Opens the door and finds a weird secret room full of
I
Roman
don't know if it's just because I'm old or what, dude, but I am lost.
One of them briefly opens the door and finds a weird secret room full of Roman architecture with Grandpat inside.
Who's a hungry boy? Dig in so you can grow up big and bristly.
The puppets are this way.
It's kind of a weird throwaway gag, but there's not really much to it, and they immediately move on with the episode without ever addressing it again. But Something about this tiny, insignificant moment really stuck with me, even months after watching this episode. And when I watched it again, I couldn't help but notice that the door leading to the room is labeled XIV, the Roman numerals for 14, for seemingly no reason. Is this supposed to be the 14th room in the house or what? But then I remembered, we've heard the number 14 before in the season 4 episode, Krusty Towers.
This room is hideous. Redesign it. Neptune the 14th will be nice.
What?
King Neptune is also referred to as the 14th. Is it possible that there's some sort of connection between Grandpat and King Neptune? I mean, that's even the way you would write a king's ordinal number, with the Roman numerals XIV. Also, the room is full of fancy royal...
Side note.
...number, with the Roman numerals...
Side note. Could you imagine this guy being your king? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's to be extremely American here for a second. Could you imagine this fucking guy being your king? This is the guy you have to swear loyalty to. This guy. Look at the shape of his face. And that's the guy you want me to bow down to. This guy.
That's even the way you would write a king's ordinal number, with the Roman numerals XIV. Also, the room is full of fancy royal Roman architecture, and the way Grandpat is relaxing and eating grapes like a king. Hear me out, hear me out. Is it possible Grandpat...
No, he is not Neptune. You're not about to tell me he's Neptune.
Grapes like a king. Hear me out, hear me out. Is it possible Grandpat is King Neptune?
I can't do this, dude. I'm not doing this, dude. I'm not doing this, dude.
You know Neptune has the power to change the way people look.
I'm not doing this, dude.
And it would explain why Grandpat, just a normal sea star, is able to be alive as far back as prehistoric times. He even has a prehistoric drawing of a starfish wearing a crown in his bedroom. This could even explain why they thought Patrick was a descendant of royalty in Rule of Dumb.
Which makes you a descendant of royalty. You are a king.
But wait a second. Why would the King of the Sea be pretending to be Patrick's cranky old grandpa? Well, remember, the Patrick Star Show is a prequel to the main series, and if you believe my Neptune theory, then you know Neptune wasn't always the King of the Sea. It's likely at some point he stole the throne and Poseidon's wife. So, what if this takes place before Neptune?
Damn! Got your throne and your girl took.
Throne and Poseidon's wife. So, what if this takes place before Neptune became king?
When King Neptune was a little Neptune, his mother set him adrift in a river.
When he was all alone, abandoned by his own mother, desperate to find the family that he was denied his whole life. So, how would he get one? Well, it turns out that there just happens to be one family in the sea that's dumb enough not to notice when new family members are added or replaced. The Patrick Star family. So, he transforms himself into the cranky old grandfather character, Grandpat, and secretly inserts himself into the family without their knowledge.
Who's this guy?
I have no idea. Do you, Cecil?
So you can see him too, Bunny? I thought I was the only one.
I'm your grandfather, Grandpat. Must we do this every morning?
Finally giving him the family love.
So he's just inserted himself into the Patrick Star family. They too dumb to, this is like a Law and Order episode, dude. They too dumb to like notice, dude.
Love he's been searching for his entire life.
Grandpat! We love you!
And if this all still sounds far-fetched to you, listen closely to the music we hear in this scene.
Who's a hungry boy? Dig in so you can grow up big and bristly.
This small piece of music is called Roman Legions, composed by John Kakavas, and it was used only one other time in SpongeBob.
Who's a hungry boy?
Behold Neptune,
Oh, Neptune!
In the Season 10 episode, Trident Trouble, when they are introducing none other than King Neptune the 14th. Grand Pat is King Neptune, and that is the Grand Pat theory.
Dude, this one's insane. I don't even know who the fuck Grand Pat is.
Or, at least it was, until they released the episode Neptune's Ball, where we see King Neptune and Grand Pat in the same room.
Man, I love your show!
Oh, well,
And
guess not.
I'm really conflicted about this, because yes, this obviously debunks my theory. Neptune and Grand
Guess
Pat
not,
can't
dude.
be the same person if they're both in the same room. But then why does all of this evidence feel so specific and intentional? Like, most evidence I find can usually be explained as an Easter egg or a coincidence, but like, I can't think of any other reason why this random room would have the Roman numerals 14 on it. Maybe this was something they were setting up but changed their minds about, or maybe there's some sort of time travel shenanigans going on, because we know Patrick's family has a time machine in this show that they use all the time.
So they just have a time machine.
Or
why? So they just got a time machine that they just use it all the time. Yeah, man, everybody's got one of those.
Or maybe I'm just in denial and I'm overthinking small little random details. Like I've said, these are the theories that didn't make the cut for their own videos, so they're not all gonna be as strong as my main theories. But even if it's unlikely, I'm still gonna hold out hope that maybe I'll be proven right someday. Oh well, on to the next theory.
Nice, dude. He in the middle of doing his theory got debunked, bro. That's insane.
Alright, the Goofy Goober alien death cult theory. Honestly, half the reason I made this theory was just because of how funny the title was. And I think that's probably why this one is gonna go in 7th place for me. That I think this is my best, most convincing theory yet. Yeah, in hindsight, maybe that statement was a little exaggerated, but I did really like this theory when I was making it, and I still definitely do. It's not a bad theory. I think there is definitely some really undeniably culty things about Goofy Goobers, but I think the biggest issue is that a lot of my evidence relies a little too much on specific real-world comparisons to real cults. I think the best fan theories mostly use evidence or the internal logic directly from the media itself, instead of trying to apply some specific outside real-world logic to something that isn't real. And that's especially the case with a surreal cartoon like Spongebob. But you know, even if it's not my strongest, it's still a really funny and absurd idea that surprisingly still kind of works. And why else are you even watching YouTube SpongeBob conspiracy theories if not to see something extremely stupid being taken extremely seriously?
Why else would you watch SpongeBob if not to eventually watch a Goofy Goober alien death cult theory? What are you even watching SpongeBob for? Fucking loser.
That still somehow makes sense. Okay, mini theory.
Squidward, the director. Okay. Is this in relation to the TV theory? I'm assuming.
So, when it comes to SpongeBob theory crafting, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie is a pretty contentious topic. Why is there no continuity between the movie and the show? Does the movie take place in the future as the canonical end of the SpongeBob timeline like many people believe? Or does it take place when it was released between season 3 and 4 and it was just a fake movie production that holds no continuity? But wait a second, if it's supposed to be a fake movie production, then why does it also seem to have a secret narrative about joining a Goofy Goober cult? Is Shell City supposed to be a mass suicide room from an alien death cult? Or are these victims from a human fish war? This is the issue with creating so many wildly different theories about the same show. Sometimes not everything is gonna line up perfectly. And I was ready to just give up and take the L until I noticed something really strange.
You know what's insane? You know what's insane? Think about it. Think about it. Alex Bale is like building like an entire like SpongeBob universe around the already created show. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is literally making, like, MCU-level movies, connecting them all within each other. And it just happens to be SpongeBob. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
In the season 3 episode...
Like, we're getting all of the extra shit beyond just the regular shit.
As seen on TV. In the beginning of this episode, we find out Mr. Krabs has hired Squidward to direct a Krusty Krab commercial.
We're shooting our first ever Krusty Krab commercial. I got Squidward organizing the whole thing. He's, you know, artsy. What the? This looks expensive.
But when he sees the production Squidward put on is way bigger than he would need for just a tiny commercial, he scraps the whole thing and shoots a lower budget one himself. But there is something very strange about the production Squidward was directing. Squidward's set has a second Krusty Krab, just like the SpongeBob movie.
The Krusty Krab too!
A second Krusty Krab?
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Okay, that's a weird coincidence, but whatever. But that's not all. Squidward's production also has the same giant leg with a heel and fishnet stockings that Patrick wears at the end of the SpongeBob movie.
That's right, keep moving!
You know what?
Like, they're not exactly the same, but you gotta admit, this is starting to feel a little too specific to be a coincidence, right? Is it possible the production Squidward directed for the Krusty Krab commercial was actually the in-universe production for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? This episode came out in 2002, which is the same year the real-life SpongeBob movie began production, and the similarities don't even end there. In the background, we can see a fish dressed with almost the...
Oh my god, it's fucking Dennis! Oh my god! Fucking Dennis! Dude! That's insane! Dude, that's insane. That's crazy. Look at fucking Dennis just chilling there. Holy shit!
Exact same hat, red bandana, and boots as Dennis, the hitman Plankton hires in the SpongeBob movie.
He's a vicious, cold-blooded predator!
It's clearly not the same guy, but listen to what Squidward says when we see him.
Mr. Krabs, everyone needs an understudy.
What if this is Dennis's understudy? We also see Mr. Krabs'
You
understudy.
see a little action pose he hit too?
Listen to what Squidward says when we
tote
see
that
him.
thing?
Mr. Krabs, everyone...
Look at him! No! Dude, look at him posted up with the strap, bro. Look at... Oh, that's funny.
One needs an understudy.
That's funny.
What if this is Dennis's understudy? We also see Mr. Krabs' understudy, who could be the stand-in for him while he's frozen for most of the movie. And then we see a guy in a giant tomato costume, and what I assume is another guy in a giant Krabby Patty costume. And I think they're supposed to be the Patty Wagon, and they're just doing some kind of visual effects that would require people to be in the suits. But regardless, there is an undeniable amount of similarities here. I think there is a very good chance that this is the actual in-universe SpongeBob movie production. But if that's all true, then why are they pretending like this is all just a commercial for the Krusty Krab?
We're making the commercial, Mr. Krabs.
Well, remember, in my television theory, most of the characters don't know they're inside of a semi-scripted TV show or movie. It's a big secret the showrunners are keeping from them, so obviously they would want to come up with...
Do you oh, so they're getting... So they're filming the movie under the guise of filming a commercial. So they're telling the people of Bikini Bottom they're filming the commercial as to not give away that they're filming a movie.
Some sort of cover story to keep this production a secret from the unaware characters like SpongeBob. Squidward even has SpongeBob bury himself in this episode to keep all the behind-the-scenes production a secret.
What are you doing, lad?
Squidward said I could help by burying myself.
So that means Squidward is not only a spy who's part of the television theory cover-up, but he's also the director of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I know that sounds a little strange. Why would they choose Squidward, of all people, to direct this movie? And even if he was chosen for some reason, does this movie really feel like it was something Squidward made? Like, one of the main things we know about Squidward is that he is such a self-obsessed narcissist who glorifies himself in all of his art. So why would a movie he directed be any different? Well, what if I told you it's not?
Stop,
in the
dude.
SpongeBob TV show,
If you sit here and you start firing off 7 different Squidward Easter eggs in this movie, I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Squidward is treated like this loser punching bag of a character.
By the way, side note, we will be trying the Wendy's Krabby Patty when it comes out, okay? We will be getting the Wendy's Krabby Patty, okay? Just a little side note.
Say anything, Squidward. Remember your karma.
But in the SpongeBob movie, for the first time ever in all SpongeBob media, Squidward is kind of presented in a surprisingly flattering way. He's the one who's given the promotion of new Krusty Krab manager because apparently he's so much more mature and responsible than SpongeBob, despite us obviously knowing how little care or effort he puts into his job. And when the entire town is dumb enough to wear Plankton's mind control helmets, Squidward is the one character who's smart enough to see through the ruse and figure out Plankton's entire plan.
You may have hoodwinked everyone else in this backwater town, but you can't fool me.
Oh my
you
God.
set up Mr. Krabs. You
You're
stole
right,
the crown
dude.
so Neptune would freeze him and you could finally get your stubby little paws on the Krabby Patty formula. But you made one fatal mistake. You messed with my paycheck. And I'm gonna report you to the highest authority in the land, King Neptune.
Like, does that not sound like something Squidward would add to the movie to make himself
Absolutely.
look better? He even
Yeah,
gets this
Squidward
really great
absolutely wrote that word for word, dude.
monologue at the end of the movie to wrap things up, and it makes him seem so inspiring and poetic.
After going on your life-changing journey, you now realize you don't want what you thought you wanted. What you really wanted was inside you all along.
Of course, it gets cut off by a joke, and he doesn't actually win against Plankton, because this is still the SpongeBob movie at the end of the day, and he probably didn't actually write it, but he still manages to make himself look really good, and it's because Squidward Tentacles directed the Spongebob SquarePants movie. I think there's a lot of evidence to support this, but I still don't really know why. Out of all the people in Bikini Bottom, why did they choose him? Well, I think it all ties back in with Goofy Goobers. In the season 12 episode, The Goofy Newbie, we see something really strange on one of the tables.
A Squidward ice cream.
A Goofy Goober ice cream that looks exactly like Squidward. Now, I noticed this back when I was first making my Goofy Goober theory, but I never really knew what to do with it. It's just this really weird background detail that makes no sense. Squidward isn't even in the episode, and we've never seen him have any interactions with Goofy Goobers. But remember, what is the one thing we know about the things Squidward creates? He always makes them in his own image. He does this with all of his art. So if Squidward was to make ice cream, I think this is what it would look like.
gosh!
So this kind of implies that Squidward does have some kind of connection with Goofy Goobers. Either he works there on the side and literally made this ice cream, or Goofy Goobers made it in his likeness because he's some sort of important member of the organization, sort of like how cults will get celebrities to join them. And if Squidward is a member of the Goofy Goobers cult, it explains why there's this secret underlying narrative about the cult in the SpongeBob movie. It's like they got the director of the movie to include some kind of subtle propaganda about how joining Goofy Goobers is the only way to set yourself free. This isn't literally a mass suicide room, but it was an intentional similarity made by Squidward to promote the cult's ideology. In fact, I think this also explains why Squidward
So Squidward is a cult leader. That's what you're telling me.
Chosen by the showrunners in the first place to direct the movie. Not only is Goofy Goobers heavily featured in the SpongeBob movie, but there's also this weird implication that they had some kind of behind-the-scenes influence over it. Bear with me for a second. About halfway through the movie, we get a classic SpongeBob title card with the French narrator speaking.
Ew.
Meanwhile.
But instead of the usual generic background, it's clearly Goofy Goober themed, despite the scene having nothing to do with Goofy Goobers. I think Goofy Goobers, being a multi-billion-dollar organization, helped fund the in-universe SpongeBob movie in exchange for having some influence over it. Not only were they able to include all this subtle cult propaganda in the movie, but they had the power to—
Goofy Goober is trying to indoctrinate the youth. Dude, this is a wild video. I want you to think about the things that we've discussed over the past roughly 2 hours, right? Goofy Goober is a cult trying to indoctrinate the youth and poison their mind. Mrs. Puff is a trafficker, dude. Like, Mr. Krabs served tours in a war against humans so brutal they were making history films about it. Dude, this is dark. This is very dark.
Choose a director from their organization to include this narrative. And they chose
Mrs.
Squidward Tentacles to become the director of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And that
there's a fake Mr. Krabs, dude.
Is the Squidward director theory.
Dude, like, there's just so much. If you know what's funny? Is if you just said any of these things to a normal individual, you would probably get put on a list. Without them ever seeing any of this context, they might think you're a criminal. If you walk up and say some of these things. Like, if you walk up to somebody and say, hey, did you know Mrs. Puff is a murderer and a trafficker? They're gonna call the cops on you. They are. They're gonna call the police on you, dude. You would have to show them this video. This is the only way for any of this to make sense, dude. Otherwise, you just sound like you've finally lost it.
Alright, so I admit it. Some of my theories have been... Alright, the robot invasion theory. I'd probably put it somewhere in the middle at like 5th place. It's good. It's a pretty good theory. I think there's a lot of evidence that robots are secretly trying to take over, and there's a lot of evidence connecting it back to Plankton or maybe Karen.
The Flying Dutchman up there. That's pretty high. I think I would have switched Flying Dutchman and Evolution. I think I would have put TV1 Evolution 2. And then probably... I don't know, dude. Probably Mrs. Puff. Maybe the robot. I do like the robot one.
In now, but that's kind of the problem. It's just a lot of evidence. This whole video is mostly just me reading off a list of robot examples and connections. It makes for a strong theory, but there really isn't as much of a compelling narrative to keep you engaged, and I think a good theory video needs to have both. Like, for example, the Mrs. Puff theory isn't just me telling you every time Mrs. Puff acts crazy, It's me telling you the tragic story of this very sympathetic character. You've got a reason to keep watching and actually feel something when I reveal a dark plot twist. But this theory, I don't really give you as much of a reason to care about Plankton's plan or the victims turning into robots, and that's fine for a mini theory, but this was almost 20 minutes long, and you've already watched 6 of these. I think the new ideas about Karen definitely help me minutes long, turning into robots, and that's fine for a mini theory, but this was almost 20 minutes long, and you've already watched 6.
What does it say? Dude, it's the words block the words, dude. I can't fucking read it. I'm not trying to say this is like a hard rule for making the theories. I'm sure I'll make theories like this again. I think this one just feels extra lacking because it's my 7th theory on the same show and I've already done a couple.
Of these. I think the new ideas about Karen definitely help make it a little more interesting, and overall, it's still a really fun idea. It just maybe could have been executed a little bit better. Okay, those are my thoughts. Time for the real reason you guys.
I don't care if the SpongeBob movie is cult propaganda. That scene of SpongeBob and Patrick dying while singing Goofy Goober will always be pig cinema. Listen, how many other movies have made you feel those emotions? Be honest. Be honest. We watched those two struggle through their journey to get to Shell City, dude. They fought to get through all of those monsters. They had to get through Dennis. They had to get through the Cyclops. They had to get through everybody, and they still ended up in Shell City dried out, dude, and you just felt so fucking sad, dude. Dude, I'm telling you.
Guys are watching this video.
The alien? Dude, this is giving me flashbacks from when we played that fucking game, dude. What was that game? What was that Bikini Bottom game we played? And the jellyfish were like zombies and like infecting everybody, dude. And we'd like run through fucking the amusement park, dude. And dude, there was like evil Patricks chasing me, dude. Around the clock. That's what it was, dude.
Okay,
fucking
so
around the
the
clock.
actual most frequent comment I get on any of my videos is, where's the jellyfish theory? And I get it. I tease this whole jellyfish alien invasion theory as sort of a misdirect in Don't Feed the Muse 2. This may be my darkest theory yet. This is the alien jellyfish invasion theory. The idea was that the plot of the theory was actually foreshadowing the plot of Don't Feed the Muse, but a lot of people still really wanted to see that theory, and I still get comments about it to this day, and for good reason. I was definitely clickbaiting you guys there. And to be completely honest, I only chose that topic because it lined up so well with the film I was making. I didn't actually have a theory planned for it, but now that I've really looked into it a bit more, I do think there's actually a surprising amount of things to say about this topic. I think it might actually be one of my best mini-theories in this video. So finally, here is the long-awaited alien jellyfish invasion theory. Aliens have invaded Bikini Bottom and taken the form of jellyfish. One by one, they replace the citizens of Bikini Bottom with identical clones, slowly taking over the population from within. Throughout the entire show, there have been hints of these alien jellyfish secretly controlling people and pulling the strings from the shadows.
Oh.
This
Dude, I can hear the song in my head, the jellyfish jelly.
Secretly controlling people and pulling
not an ordinary sandwich.
The strings from the shadows. This may be my darkest theory yet. This is the alien jellyfish invasion theory. One of the creepiest episodes of SpongeBob is by far the season 8 episode, Planet of the Jellyfish. A mysterious green alien appears in Jellyfish Fields and starts spreading alien jellyfish clones all over Bikini Bottom. By getting the people to wear the alien jellyfish's hats, one by one they kidnap and replace the citizens of Bikini Bottom with identical clones. This whole episode is very much a parody of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers films. Eventually, SpongeBob discovers the weakness of the aliens is none other than mayonnaise, and he uses it to kill the aliens and set everyone free.
Mayonnaise! You know, surprisingly, that's a lot of people's weakness, mayonnaise. You'd be surprised how many people would melt at the thought of mayonnaise on their burger, dude. Now, not me, dude. I am a mayo maniac, dude. Give me the mayo. Give me all the mayo, dude.
But how free are they, really? Afterwards, Mr. Krabs decides to resell all the remaining alien goo as a new Krabby Patty condiment.
Miracle Whip? You guys fuck with Miracle Whip, dude? I do. I know there are people who have very strong feelings about Miracle Whip, dude. Miracle Whip is delicious. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says.
Jelly relish.
Get your freaky clone jelly relish patties.
And the episode ends with Patrick ordering one of these patties, but without mayonnaise.
I'll have one relish patty. Hold them in.
We're left on this cliffhanger where Patrick might still very well be an alien clone. And that's it. It's been 11 years since this episode came out, and there has been no continuation of this story since then. So, is Patrick an alien?
Dude, Alex, you should play Around the Clock, dude. You'll get some fucking info. You'll get some info from Around the Clock, bro.
The Jellians still somehow around, secretly plotting another takeover? Well, before I answer that, I can actually tell you exactly where these aliens came from. The background of the title card for this episode shows a barren alien planet, but we've actually seen this exact planet before. In the Season 4 episode, Squidbob Tentacle Pants, Sandy is experimenting with a new teleportation device and accidentally sends Spongebob and Squidward to an alien planet for a few seconds.
Well, here goes nothing.
The exact same alien planet we see in the Planet of the Jellyfish title card. Now, the aliens we see on this planet don't really resemble the Jellians, so at first I thought maybe the Jellians were originally just a different species somewhere else on this planet, but then I noticed in the background we see this orange and yellow ringed planet that isn't present in the Jellyfish title card. Planet of the Jellyfish is obviously a parody of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and in that franchise, the aliens invaded Earth because their original home planet was dying. So what if this planet was the original homeworld of the Jellians, but just like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the planet died sometime between Squidbob and Planet of the Jellyfish, and that's why the jellyfish invaded Earth. The spots on the planet even look like a jellyfish. Okay, so that's where I think the Jellians came from, but where are they now? Is Patrick actually an alien clone at the end of Planet of the Jellyfish?
Dude, ain't that the same thing that happens in Invincible? Ain't that the same thing that happens in Invincible?
He's not. And not because I just claimed he was a robot.
And that's
the
why
Jellian
Omni-Man
clones all
does
have
what he
black
does?
eyes and act in a very obviously alien way. And Patrick here looks and acts completely normal. But then why does he ask for a Krabby Patty without mayonnaise?
Hold them in.
Well, maybe it's as simple as he just doesn't like mayonnaise. Also no. And it's not because of this scene.
Now, we've seen him eat mayonnaise, dude.
Instrument?
It's because of the way the Season 4 episode Hocus Pocus ends. When SpongeBob somehow figures out how to perform real magic, and Patrick asks SpongeBob to do this.
Hey, SpongeBob, I'm still hungry. Will you turn me into a jar of mayonnaise so I can eat myself?
Patricka, mayonnaise.
Patrick could have asked SpongeBob to turn him into literally any food,
and he chose mayo.
Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is his favorite fucking food, which means there is no way he would ask to hold the mayo at the end of Planet of the Jellyfish unless he was being controlled.
Nah, dude. Dude, Patrick is a mayo muncher, dude. A mayo monster. Absolutely.
To hold the mayo at the end of Planet of the Jellyfish unless he was being controlled by the Jellians, at least to some extent. So even if he's not a full-on alien clone, I think he is being affected by the Jellian goo he ate, but in a much more subtle, dormant way. It's kind of like how rabies has evolved to make people afraid of water because the virus spreads faster without it. The Jellian goo is subconsciously making people avoid mayonnaise in order to keep itself alive. Now, there are little hints that maybe these Jellians are still around, influencing people in future episodes. Gary, Sandy, and even Patchy all mention later that they don't like mayonnaise.
Gary hates mayo.
I don't like
What is with all this mayo hate, dude? What is with all this mayo hate? If you hate mayonnaise, you're just a miserable person. I'm sorry. To hate mayonnaise is to like hating baby puppies. Newborn puppies. Are you gonna look a brand new, freshly born, adorable little puppy and tell it you hate it? Because that's what hating mayonnaise is like. It's like hating puppies. So, think about that for a second.
Neither.
Hardy, you know I don't like mayo!
And there was this shaman guy in season 9 that had a jellyfish on his head. But, you know, other than these random one-off moments, that's kinda it. So maybe there is a secret jellyfish invasion going on, but like I said, I chose this theory because it fit the film I was making, not because there's any smoking gun evidence to prove it all. I mean, it's not like there's a whole convention of people wearing jellyfish hats, right? Oh, yeah, I forgot about these guys.
JellyCon? Dude,
So-
that's the fucking nerd con of Bikini Bottom, dude.
In the season 2 episode, I'm Your Biggest Fanatic, we're introduced to the biannual Jellyfish Convention, where all the jellyfish
and Kevin was there.
enthusiasts
sea
in Bikini
cucumber?
Bottom can meet up and enjoy their hobby.
Wow, I can't believe it. We're actually here at the biannual Jellyfish Convention.
Jellyfish are awesome.
Now,
what do you think it smelled like in there? A bunch of jellyfish fanatics gathering in one singular room, all mingling together. What do you think it smelled like in there?
There were people wearing jellyfish hats here before the Jellyfish Invasion episode, but it's maybe like 10% of the people. But 4 seasons after Planet of the Jellyfish, we get an episode called Jolly Lodgers where we see the convention again, and literally like 99% of the people there are wearing jellyfish hats now. Huh. I guess it just got a little more popular, you know, I guess it's not that weird. But not only does the convention seem a lot bigger, but there's some interesting new activities going on. We got increasing your sting endurance, get buff jellyfishing, do you want to be a jelly? Totally legal?
Totally legal.
Maybe
yeah.
that's just to
Do you
be.
see the guy behind the counter? Yeah, man, I would trust this guy absolutely. He's not up to shady shit at all.
A jelly? Totally legal? Maybe that's just like a little suspicious. And just listen to the way these people talk now.
You belong with us now.
Okay, these guys are Jellians. They even surround Squidward in the exact same way the Jellians surrounded SpongeBob and Sandy. Look, the creators literally recreated the shot. I'm not crazy, these guys are fucking Jellians. And we even see people still wearing these jellyfish hats after the convention. In one of the newer episodes in season 14, we see a random fish wearing a jellyfish hat.
That could also just be a nerd. That could... Y'all ever see the nerds that, like, are nerding in public, right? You know what I mean? Like, you guys ever seen, like, somebody just wearing, like, a wig? Like, one of those anime wigs? Like, the big pink ones? Just in public? Like, they're not even in full costume, cosplay, whatever. They're just, like, they just have the wig. And they're just wearing the wig. Have you guys ever seen that? Or like a person is just wearing the furry head. Like they don't have the full furry suit on. They have just the head. They're walking around with just the head. That's this guy. That's what this guy's doing. That guy's just the furry.
At or
that
going
guy is
to
just
a jellyfish
furry,
convention. But what's really strange?
Yeah, but they're not in cosplay. Like they're just wearing a wig and they're at Walmart. You know what I mean? They're just wearing a wig and they're at Walmart. I didn't tell them they couldn't do it, dude. I'm not telling you that we need to stone them in the fucking laundry section of Walmart when you see them, dude. Yeah, or the furry tail. I'm just pointing out the real life comparison. I'm just the nerds that nerd in public, dude. That's what they do. They nerd in public, right? They got their tails on, dude, and they're wagging the shit out of them.
Here is that when Bubble Bass opens a window, everyone's stuff flies off except for this hat. it is really stuck on there. It really feels like there is some kind of alien clinging to his head. We also see Kevin's fan club, the Jelly Spotters, again in season 14, except now they've all got jellyfish hats, and they've replaced their leader, Kevin, with Patrick.
He got kicked out of the club years ago.
Which kind of makes sense since Kevin can't really wear a jellyfish hat since he's got that thing on his head.
I didn't know this was a hat.
It wasn't.
So they got someone else who the aliens could actually...
I was about to say, what happened to Kevin, dude? Have we seen Kevin since then? Has Kevin made any other appearances, dude? Free Kevin, dude. Bring back Kevin.
Place to be in charge. It makes
We need
sense.
more Kevin
the
love.
Jellians are back, and they're using this convention to secretly add people to their alien hive mind collective. In fact, I'm even pretty sure that they successfully replaced Squidward in this episode. Throughout this episode, Squidward is trying to escape this convention, but they keep cornering him and even force him to wear a jellyfish hat. But then, at the end of this episode, he finds an empty jellyfish mascot costume and decides to use it as a disguise to escape.
Say, if I put that dumb thing on, I can sneak out of here without anybody knowing it's me.
And it pretty much works. He manages to get away from everyone else.
I've got peace and quiet. I've got peace and quiet.
But
is he in a gas chamber? What is this episode?
Second. Let's go back to the establishing shot at the very beginning of this episode. Do you notice anything strange here other than
Let's see. The guy is totally legal. Jelly shirts. There's some jellyfish and nets. There's a dude with a giant fucking noggin. I don't see anything.
the stuff I've already pointed out?
I don't know, there's a first aid table. There's the dragon jellyfish. There's king and queen jelly up there. This is like a Where's Waldo, dude. I don't see anything, dude. Like, it just looks like a bunch of nerds at the NerdCon.
Hidden in the bottom right
shit, that's why.
corner is the jellyfish mascot Squidward will eventually put on. But if that's the case, then why can we already see Squidward's feet coming out of it? This is way before Squidward puts on the costume to escape. We literally see him outside of the costume in the very next shot. Squidward can't also be here unless they already made an alien clone of Squidward, and at some point during the episode, they switch places. Squidward and everyone here has been replaced by the alien jellyfish invasion.
Dude!
And also replaced by the robot invasion, and also brainwashed by goofy goobers, and also being secretly controlled by the showrunners. A lot of people are trying to take over Bikini Bottom, okay? There's your jellyfish.
Dude, these people need help, bro. The people of Bikini Bottom are in turmoil, dude. Do you see the shit that they're going through? Do you see the shit that these people are going through? They went through 100-year war with God knows who. We don't even know who they were fighting with at this point, dude. They had no Lord knows how many casualties from the 100-year war. They're constantly being indoctrinated into different cults. Different species of beings are always invading and attempting to take over, dude. Nobody knows who the hell is who, dude. Meanwhile, SpongeBob can eradicate all of history with a snap of his damn finger like he's Thanos, bro. Is this Bikini Bottom or Gotham City, dude? Like, what are we doing here?
Theory, you could stop commenting about it.
What are we doing here?
Alright, so this time, instead of ending with the big twist, I'm just gonna open with it. The Flying Dutchman. Okay, the time-traveling ghost pirate theory. I love this theory. I'd put it third in terms of believability, but in terms of just being like a really fun and compelling narrative, I'd say it's my favorite. It just adds so much depth and sympathy to both of these iconic but maybe a little one-dimensional characters. And yeah, maybe some parts of this theory could be stronger, but you gotta admit, it's crazy how much of it lines up perfectly. I know they're working on a new SpongeBob movie with the Flying Dutchman as like the main villain, so, you know, there's a good chance it'll just completely debunk my theory.
Wait, Mark Hamill is the... Wait. What? Wait a minute, dude. A lot of things just happened in a span of 5 seconds, dude. They're making a new SpongeBob movie, and Mark Hamill is the Flying Dutchman? I will be seated opening night.
Theory, but at the same time, the Sandy movie confirmed my television theory, so I don't know. I'm gonna hold out hope. So yeah, those were my 8 SpongeBob theories. It was really fun revisiting them and seeing how they all held up. I'm glad we were able to end on a high note with this last one.
Look at the list, bro. Look at how far we've come. Look at everything that we've been through. Everything. This was our journey. And if only the people who weren't here knew what was going on in between, dude. If only they fucking knew.
All held up. I'm glad we were able to end on a high note with this last one. So, we have reached my final SpongeBob mini theory.
Oh, this is the last one. This is the last one. This is the final SpongeBob theory. The official end. This marks the official finale to one of the most epic journeys that man could have ever gone on, dude. I can't believe I'm saying these words. I can't believe that it's really over. Like, it's done. This is it. That's it. There's no more after this, dude. But dude, that just means a new journey starts. Think about it. Think about it. When one journey ends, another one starts, dude.
Probably the final SpongeBob theory I will ever make. And it's fittingly the theory that I teased in the final episode of Don't Feed the Muse. I'm going to be proving that Larry the Lobster is secretly a drug lord kingpin that goes by the name Pinhead Larry.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. End it on a fucking bang, dude. This is what I'm talking about.
The Pinhead Larry the Lobster theory. I saved this one till the end, not because it's the best or the most shocking theory I've ever made. It might not even be the best mini theory in this video, but I saved it because it's the most ridiculous sounding one. Larry the Lobster is a drug lord kingpin that goes by the name Pinhead Larry is one of the stupidest and funniest sentences I have ever come up with.
Like, once again, you throw this in there, dude. Mrs. Puff is a murderer trafficker. A murdering fish trafficker. She's a murdering fish trafficker, right? The Goofy Goober cult was using the SpongeBob movie to brainwash and indoctrinate children into their cult. And now, Larry the Lobster is an international drug kingpin known as Pinhead Larry.
With in one of these SpongeBob conspiracies. And I think That's the thing that I love the most about making these videos. It's that you can come up with the most ridiculous, stupid ideas about the most mundane and unsuspecting topics, like a random side character in a kid's show, and then if you can still actually somehow make a pretty good case for it, it's just the most unexpected and magical feeling in the world. And it's why I have loved making a theory about a time-traveling ghost pirate or a goofy Goober alien death cult. It's why I have loved making each one of these theories, and why I'll continue to make theories about other stupid, unsuspecting, mundane topics after this. It's been a wild ride. Let's begin our final...
Wouldn't want it any other way. Wouldn't want it from anyone else than the maddest scientist, the most evil genius we've ever seen.
Final SpongeBob theory.
Oh boy.
In the Season 2 episode, Survival of the Fittest, Sandy Sleep talks about fighting two infamous criminals named Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry.
I've had enough of your
I'm the
dastardly
real
deeds,
Dirty Dan.
I'm gonna get you and your partner, Pinhead Larry.
She later mistakes SpongeBob and Patrick for the criminal duo, and attacks and even buries them alive with their own gravestones. It's obviously an iconic episode, but I've always wondered who exactly were Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry.
Is not going to be...
I've always
What did I
wondered
say?
who exactly were Dirty Dan
Is
and
not going to be whether about Dirty Dan was a Dan Schneider reference. I mean, he definitely was Dirty Dan, dude. Oh my god. Could you imagine? Could you imagine, bro? The SpongeBob people knew what the fuck Dan Schneider was doing and they was throwing shots at him, dude. They were on the same network. They were on the same network, dude. The cartoon people knew what the non-cartoon people was up to, dude. They was throwing shots. Could you fucking imagine? That's a documentary I'd want to see, dude.
Pinhead
oh my
Larry.
gosh.
All right, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Were they real people, or were they just someone Sandy made up? Are they legendary outlaws she heard about, or someone she actually fought from her past? It's a hard question to answer because they're really only mentioned in this one episode. The best we get later on is the words "Dirty Dan was here" written in graffiti on the back of a gym. Or that's at least what I thought, until I saw the Season 11 episode, Shopping List, where SpongeBob and Sandy travel to a snowy mountain and we briefly see them pass by two graves labeled Dirty Dan
Oh my god!
and Pinhead Larry. So we know they were definitely real people. Now, in the episode, Sandy seems kind of familiar with this area, and these are the exact same graves she recreated for SpongeBob and Patrick. So this seems to be implying that her dream was actually based off of a real memory of her fighting and killing Dirty Dan and
Nah,
Pinhead.
dude, Sandy's a G, bro. She took care of the ops.
Pinhead Larry here. Except there's one problem with that. How did Dirty Dan write this graffiti if he's supposed to be dead? I mean, I know it's not like we see when this graffiti was written, but it wasn't left on just any old random gym. It was written on the back of Larry the Lobster's gym. A gym that we saw Larry open in Season 9.
What you see before you is the culmination of my lifelong dream, Larry's Gym.
Meaning this graffiti must have been written long after Sandy would have fought and killed Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry. So how is this possible? How could Dirty Dan write this on Larry's gym if he's supposed to be dead? I
So
think
Sandy
this
didn't
means
really
that the
kill-
real Dirty Dan and probably also Pinhead Larry
Are
are
still
not
alive.
actually dead. They probably faked their deaths and are alive somewhere in Bikini Bottom. But where, and more importantly,
who
are they? Wait a second. Why would Dirty Dan
Okay,
write that he was...
So if you're... Obviously the theory is going to be that Larry is Pinhead. but then who would be Dirty Dan? You know what I mean? I don't know of anybody close enough to Larry to be like a sidekick.
Here at this specific gym, Larry's gym, you don't think Larry the Lobster could be Pinhead Larry? That sounds stupid. Or does it? I mean, it would explain why Dirty Dan would risk exposing that he's still alive at a place Sandy probably frequents. Maybe he's leaving a message for his former criminal partner. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, they're both named Larry, and you definitely could say he has a pin-shaped head. But Larry is friends with Sandy, and he definitely isn't a criminal, right? Maybe we need to take a closer look at our lobster friend.
Not Larry, bro! Not my guy Larry, dude! I've been living like Larry ever since he told me to start living like Larry, dude. Not Larry, dude! You can't do this to my mans! You cannot do this to my mans! The hell?
I rewatched every single...
This is like when they release a documentary on, like, your favorite, you know, music artist or whatever, and it turns out that they're a giant piece. Like, imagine the R. Kelly fans when the news dropped, dude. That's what this is. That's what this is for me, dude. Like, I imagine I'm an R. Kelly fan and the news just dropped, dude. Episode 1 is playing right now, dude. Fuck.
Single appearance of Larry the Lobster in all 14 seasons of SpongeBob, and here's what I learned. Larry cares a lot about staying in shape and working out, to an obsessive degree.
My latissimus dorsi has gone flabby. I've got to get to a rowing machine.
He also hates when anyone else is out of shape and will do anything in his power to help them get fit.
Those poor people. Someone needs to whip them into shape. Looking out at this sea of flaccid muscles and sagging flesh, frankly, I'm disgusted. Push it! Push it!
Apparently, he was also raised by these two old fish.
But you guys are way too old and unsightly for my beach.
So polite.
Just like we raised him.
And to further confirm this, the same old lady fish later says this during the Alaskan bullworm incident.
We should call my nephew.
Sounds like she could definitely be referring to Larry here, so I do think they're supposed to be his aunt and uncle. We also know he loves protein shakes.
Protein shakes saved my life, bro.
And
he used to be a lifeguard, but recently fulfilled his lifelong dream of opening up a massive gym.
The culmination of my lifelong dream. A place of my own where I can work out every day, anytime I want.
He's not the most complex character, and there's definitely nothing here to indicate that he's the former infamous outlaw Pinhead Larry. Except for one teeny tiny detail in the season 12 episode, the nitwitting.
Like, these theories are cool for me, because I'm getting new shit, too. Like, I didn't know Larry opened a fucking gym till just now. You know?
In this episode, we very briefly see Larry working out at his gym, but we can clearly see that he's drinking a kelp shake. And that wouldn't mean anything to you unless you remembered the season 4 episode, Best Frenemies. In this episode, a new restaurant opens up selling something called a kelp shake.
Ah, a new store on my block.
Everyone's enjoying a delicious kelp shake.
They pop up out of nowhere, and we never find out who was really running them. The kelp shakes have an initial bad taste, but they are extremely addictive.
Ah, this tastes like a wet gym sock. Hey, this ain't half bad. This is amazing.
Like, to the point where people basically get hooked on it like a drug.
Crabs.
Kind of like crack. You hit it once, you're like, ew, this is gross. Hit it twice, you're like, not bad. Hit it a third time, you're like, this is the greatest thing God has ever given me. I want to spend all my money on this. I'm going to sell my house and buy crack.
We're all out of juice. Well, we gotta get more.
The kelp
Then you
shake
start fiending for the crack. You gotta find more, you start stealing.
Restaurant is later shut down, and the shakes are banned because apparently they have some kind of radioactive material in them.
Yeah, they turn you into a tweaker.
It'll take decades to clean this hazardous material up.
I sure feel sorry for whoever drank this.
But then why does Larry have the same banned kelp shake 8 seasons later? maybe this is just a random throwaway Easter egg. I mean, we never see him with a kelp shake again, just the generic protein shakes. Except, let's take a closer look at those protein shakes. In the season 11 episode, Larry the Floor Manager...
You think he's putting a little something special in those kelp shakes, dude?
Larry briefly takes over as manager of the Krusty Krab and turns it into a gym.
Now we only serve salad and protein power shakes.
He forces SpongeBob to sell protein shakes, and even though the cups look different, the color of the liquid is the exact same as the kelp shake. They even seem to have the same initial bad taste.
You like?
No, Larry. No.
I think every time Larry drinks or sells a kelp shake, he is
It's
actually selling
just
the illegal,
crack.
addictive kelp shakes from Best Frenemies. Now, we never see anyone grow any green hair, but knowing what we know about Larry, there's no way he would be drinking it himself if it had the same side effects.
Right.
I think Larry was the one behind the original kelp shake restaurants. But after they were banned, he tweaked the recipe and started secretly reselling them as rebranded protein shakes. How else do you even explain Larry?
Oh my god, dude! Larry's even more of a greedy corporate bastard than Mr. Krabs. I didn't think you could get that big, dude. Holy fuck, dude. He went full scale American billionaire, dude. He said, fuck the health and safety and well-being of the general public, dude. I've got some money to make. Oh, hell no, dude. That's what it means to live like Larry, bro.
Same kelp shake here 8 seasons after they were banned, unless he's the one making them. In Squid Plus One, he even admits that he's the one who makes his protein shakes.
I just need to stop by the apartment and make myself a protein shake.
Dude, he's in the kitchen whipping the pot, dude. Like it's Breaking Bad. This is insane.
Explains how a lifeguard could suddenly afford to open a massive gym. He's secretly a kelp shake drug lord kingpin. And if you still don't believe me, we see Larry standing next to a protein shake store called Protein Fiend that has a green kelp logo and the word kelp shake on the sign, clearly referencing the kelp shakes. And this is also the episode with the Mrs. Puff newspaper, so you know the creators were like in a hiding lore mood.
That is insane.
There are too many connections here for this to be a coincidence. Larry the Lobster is the criminal mastermind behind the kelp shakes. But does this also mean that he was the former infamous criminal, Pinhead Larry, who faked his death? Well, believe it or not, Larry the Lobster has also had a near-death experience in his past. In Squid Plus One, Larry mentions that the protein shakes saved his life.
You don't need that glop.
Oh, I wouldn't call it glop. Protein shakes saved my life, bro.
Like, what does that even mean? Okay, hear me out. What if this is how he survived his death? Sandy killed him and his partner, but the radioactive properties...
He did some crack, and it boosted him back to life, dude.
...of the kelp shakes brought him back to life.
Protein shakes save my life.
That is insane.
So, of course, Larry would continue to drink and sell these kelp shakes. They literally saved his life. Even if they're radioactive and illegal, to him, this is a way to help himself and everyone around him become stronger, the thing we know he wants most of all. It explains why he gets so defensive when Squidward insults his protein shakes.
I love protein shakes.
Okay, but there's still
is it like that's where his strength comes from, is the protein shakes? Like that was the effects. Like he drank the shake while he was about to die. It gave him like a boost in strength, which is what allowed him to survive. It just has crazy stupid side effects because it's so potent.
Obvious issue here. If Sandy killed...
This is like, we're getting sciencey now. We're like investigating the international drug trade of Bikini Bottom.
Pinhead Larry, why doesn't she recognize him now? Well, I think we get a possible explanation to this in the Camp Coral spin-off episode, Game Night, where the camp counselors play a board game called Lobster Trap. If you take away the beard and the eye patch, the lobster on the box looks exactly like Larry, a direct clue about Larry the Lobster being a criminal. Just like that Flying Dutchman game, I think this game is based on the real legendary criminal Pinhead Larry. This explains why Sandy wouldn't recognize Larry the Lobster. Either this is a criminal disguise—
Dude, this is like a Western movie, dude. So you're telling me Sandy was like some, like, sheriff or something? Wasn't she a sheriff? She's like a sheriff up in Texas, right? And then you've got Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry, who are like these outlaw criminal guys. And so she is the law, and she's gotta, like, apprehend these dudes, and then it turns into a gunfight or something, and then she ends up winning against them, but then he drinks the kelp shit and lives. Dude. Book the studio time and start making that movie now, dude. I want to see it.
eyes he wore, or, and I'm just speculating here, it's actually what he used to look like, and the healing properties of the kelp shake fixed his eye. And if you're still not convinced about Larry's criminal connections, I've saved my best evidence for last. Remember that old lady that raised Larry?
So polite. We should call my nephew.
She's just a sweet old lady. There's no way she would have raised a criminal mastermind, right? Well, in the Season 9 episode, Patrick Man, she is revealed to be none other than the Dirty Bubble.
The Dirty fucking Bubble!
The Dirty Bubble?
This random old lady was actually one of the most notorious criminals in Bikini Bottom all along. Man Ray's partner in crime, the Dirty Bubble.
Holy shit!
The boy's arch nemesis, the Dirty Bubble.
And I know what you're thinking. Maybe this is just a disguise he wore in this one episode. It doesn't necessarily mean this old lady has always been the Dirty Bubble.
He passed the torch, dude.
I checked everywhere, and I can confidently say that we have never seen the Dirty Bubble and this lady in the same scene. And she's a pretty common background character. Also, she lives in the same retirement home as the Dirty Bubble's nemesis, and we see her constantly in the background watching them. She is literally the perfect cover for the Dirty Bubble to spy on them. But most damning of all, this old lady is friends with and even went to high school with Man Ray.
Why, hello, Ray.
Mabel! I haven't seen you since high school.
Larry the Lobster was raised by the Dirty Bubble, explaining how he became the infamous criminal known as Pinhead Larry. And wait a second. Pinhead Larry...
bro, this is some, like, LeBron James Jr., both playing on the Lakers, bro. Dirty Bubble and Pinhead Larry, bro. The fucking doing crime.
He was raised by the Dirty Bubble, the only criminal we know in the show whose entire gimmick is being dirty. Holy sh**, the Dirty Bubble is Dirty Dan. It fits...
What? Dude!
Too perfectly. This would also explain how Dirty Dan faked his death. The Dirty Bubble is constantly being killed and later brought back to life with a bubble blower. The Dirty Bubble and Larry the Lobster
are Dirty Dan and Pinhead fucking Larry!
Were the infamous criminal duo Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry. After nearly being killed by Sandy, they changed their identities and split up. The Dirty Bubble continuing his criminal pursuits with his new partner Man Ray, and Larry the Lobster choosing a more subtle approach by secretly selling illegal kelp shakes. And even though they've been apart for years now, the Dirty Bubble still left a little reminder to his old partner. Dirty Dan was here. Yes, he certainly was.
Fucking gosh.
And that is the Pinhead
Bro,
Larry the Lobster theory,
fuck.
and that is the end of Alex Bale's SpongeBob Conspiracies.
God, that's how you fucking end it.
Thank you very much.
God damn, dude. That's an ending. That's a fucking ending.
Okay, I'm done. That is every possible SpongeBob theory I can think of. I got no more. I have fully emptied my brain of every stupid SpongeBob thought I have ever come up with. There is no more reason to ask me for more, okay? Remember when I said I wasn't gonna complain in this video? Yeah, that was a lie. Listen, I'm sure they will make more.
But you know what's great? You know what's great? You know what's great about that, Alex? Is you won't ever get another comment about people people asking for a SpongeBob video, because you're done. You said, I'm done. No more SpongeBob videos. Stop asking. And nobody's gonna ask. But you know what's gonna happen to my comments the second you upload a single video? Doesn't matter what the video is. You know what's gonna happen? Do you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna start knocking on my window again when I'm in the fucking shower.
More SpongeBob episodes and spin-offs and movies that will be full of new lore to theorize about, but I'll probably just let other theorists take it from here. I've got a lot of really cool ideas involving other non-SpongeBob related media, so hopefully you guys stick around for those. I promise they'll be just as believable and twisty and fun as all of these theories. If they weren't, I wouldn't bother making them. Thanks for almost 1 million subscribers, by the way. That's cool.
Dude.
You may be wondering, do I actually legitimately believe any of these theories? Yes and no. Do I think they were all actually intended by the creators 100%? No, probably not. I think there's a nugget of truth in each of these theories. Like, yes, they clearly intended to give the show a nature documentary.
I think a lot of them just have, like, they purposefully like make things connect, and they purposefully like bring back things from, like, you know what I mean? Like when something happens in an earlier season and then it happens like again in a later season, or they bring back a character, something like that. You know what I mean? They do that kind of thing on purpose, right? But when you build these whole huge crazy theories and this is connected to this and this and that, I don't think it goes that deep with the creators. I don't think that they're like, you know, Goofy Goober death cult. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're in like the writer's room at Nickelodeon and they're like, dude, what if Mrs. Puff was a fish trafficker? Like, I don't think they're doing that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I just think it's cool that we just happen to have so many connections to be able to say things like this. You know what I'm saying?
Framing device. And yes, Mrs. Puff is clearly supposed to have a shady criminal past, but I don't know if the creators ever actually thought about it much more than that. And most of the crazy lore connections I find can probably be explained away as just Easter eggs, coincidences, lazy writing, or just animation mistakes.
Yeah, like, it's just them, like, you know, they're purposefully pulling Easter eggs and stuff, but it's not like, they're not like saying things are fact. And
I'm sorry if admitting that ruins the fun for anyone, but I don't think that means that these theories are just a bunch of bullshit or a waste of time. You know, I believe you can find meaning in art beyond just what the creators intend, even in a silly cartoon made for kids. And those interpretations are still just as valid and entertaining. To me, that's the whole appeal of fan theories. So when I get comments saying, it's just a kid's show, it's not that deep, you're overthinking it. Yeah, I know, that's the whole point. That's why it's so fun. You know, I love taking something.
Think about that, dude. Think about my videos. Think about what do we do? We sit here and we watch these dumb, like, silly, goofy, you know, SpongeBob theories, and we have a ball, dude. We're having the time of our lives, dude. Like, do I think Mrs. Puff's backstory is the most mind-boggling, mind-blowing thing I've ever heard in my life? No, dude. No, it's not. But damn it, I'm having a good time fucking watching this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just enjoying the ride while we're on it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the whole point. That's why it's so fun. You know, I love taking something like SpongeBob that very likely does not have any deep hidden lore inside of it, and yet still somehow making a massive, plausible conspiracy out of the little inconsistencies in the episode. To me, that is just so much fun. And that's all these videos are at the end of the day. They're just me having fun by taking things way too seriously. So yeah, more theories on the way. I'll probably keep covering topics like SpongeBob that are nostalgic and unsuspecting. I guess I might as well announce some of the theories I'm working on. I'll be releasing a Blue's Clues theory.
Blue's Clues? Oh my god, I will be seated with a suit. A Blue's Clues theory? Oh,
Announce some of the theories.
Front row, are you kidding me? Dude, I'm buying the XD tickets to this shit. What? Are you? I'm ordering steak dinner for this occasion. Blue's Clues?
I'm working on. I'll be releasing a Blue's Clues theory and a High School Musical theory.
I watched High School Musical for the first time a while ago, right? Like, I want to say last year. I watched it for the very first time, dude. High School Musical. The first time I ever watched it, dude.
There's just a lot to talk about with both of those. I'm really excited. I'm also working on a bunch of other theories too. I just don't want to reveal them yet. So go ahead.
This looks like Cars. This looks like Lightning McQueen. This looks like Cars. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what this looks familiar, but I don't know what this is. And I don't know what the hell this is. I know this is Cars, dude. I know Lightning McQueen. I know Lightning McQueen from anywhere, dude. That is an icon. That is an icon. Pop-Tarts? Where do you see Pop-Tarts? I don't think he makes a theory on Pop-Tarts. Full House? You think that's Full House? That's definitely two people. Like, I think this is a dude and this is a dude. Right? Like, the top left, those are two dudes. Top right, you think is Pop-Tarts? Top right is some sort of puppet show? Dude, this is the theory, dude. This is the real theory. Trying to figure out what the fuck Alex Bale's theories are gonna be next.
Go ahead and subscribe to catch those. I don't know when or what order I'll be posting those in. I might even post something else besides those two first. We'll see. Also, film stuff. Still working on a feature film. Won't be out for a long time, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I say this at the end of every video now.
Listen, Alex. You're making a feature film. Listen, if you need a handsome light skin to make a cameo in your blockbuster hit, dude, you know where to find me. You know where to find me, Alex. You know where to find me, dude.
Now, you know, I'm just trying to let the film fans on my channel know that even if you don't see any new filmy stuff on the channel...
I will be at the premiere, too, by the way. I'm sitting... I will be seated, dude.
For a while. It doesn't mean there's nothing
for the Alex Bale movie? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude? I'm buying out the theater. The hell? I'm buying out the theater, throwing a watch party. I'm pirating it on DVD before it comes out, and then I'll buy the official DVD when it comes out. That's what's gonna happen.
And this is the biggest project I've ever worked on, so I'm gonna take my time with it. Cool. I'll also be releasing a compilation of all of the episodes of Don't Feed the Muse into one long film. I'm really proud of that whole series. You know, I'll probably also just keep experimenting with the type of content I post on YouTube. That's all I got for you. This was a really long video, biggest video I've ever made. Thank you for all the support on these SpongeBob videos. They really were a lot of fun to make, and they were just a really big part of my life for the past couple of years. And even though I've played this character that hates making SpongeBob theories, I've really appreciated all the love on those videos. You can check out my Patreon or merch if you want to support me.
Dude, shout out Alexander Bell, bro. The greatest filmmaker of our generation, bro. Shout out Alex Bale for one of the greatest experiences of our lifetimes, dude. I owe a lot to Alex Bale, dude. Like, my most viewed videos on my channel all time, like all my top 5 videos, are all the I think all the SpongeBob theories are the top 8 videos on my channel, like, all time, dude. Like, these videos blew me up to where I am now, dude. So I am very, very appreciative of Alex Bale. He let me do this, you know what I'm saying? He let me sit here and watch and babble and critique and criticize and scream and yell and have the time of my fucking life, dude. So I just appreciate him allowing me to go on this experience. It was a journey, dude. I absolutely loved it. It's sad that it's coming to an end, dude, but it just opens it up for a new adventure, dude. Every single theory was absolutely amazing. The mini theories were even great, dude. Alex Bale is a whole different type of human being, and I just have, like, really no words to describe the level that this thing is at, dude. But this was absolutely amazing, dude. Shout out to Alex Bale with an absolute amazing series.